Chapter 664. From Qian Rinxue's perspective, Wang Feng was able to fool the six-titled Douluo because they didn't know anything about him. However, she definitely understood the white-clothed pope extremely well. She definitely knew all of the white-clothed pope's plans, so it was simply impossible to hide them from her. Wang Feng nodded slightly when he heard this. At this juncture, he was about to meet Bibi Dawn. It was only a matter of time before he entered the Rakshasa's secret realm. He didn't want his identity to be exposed. He could just leave for the Pope's palace. "Be careful," Wang Feng said. After that, he concealed his aura and left the room. Under the moonlight, Wang Feng quickly disappeared from Qian Rinxue's line of sight. Qian Rinxue heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this. As long as he leaves, she won't be able to say anything even if I find someone to impersonate Pope Tiff. It's fine as long as she doesn't know who he is. Qian Rinxue was a little lost when he thought about the past few days. After that, he became clear again. Qian Rinxue didn't interact much with Wang Feng over the past few days to prevent the six-titled Douluo from seeing through Wang Feng's disguise. However, the six-titled Douluo felt that the two of them were very close. The next day, "Young master, where's Pope Tiff?" The snake-spear Douluo was shocked to see Qian Rinxue alone. He said that he had something urgent to attend to last night. He went to the Pope's palace first. Qian Rinxue said calmly. The six-titled Douluo nodded. They weren't too confused. After all, they were very close to the Pope's palace. Qian Rinxue followed the six-titled Douluo back to the Pope's palace. It was almost noon. Golden sunlight shone on the majestic Pope's palace. It was as if a holy veil had been draped over it. It was very beautiful, just like heaven. Qian Rinxue looked at the Pope's palace with a mocking look on his face. After that, Qian Rinxue took a deep breath and walked into the Pope's palace. In the spacious Pope's palace, there was a person standing tall in front. Qian Rinxue walked forward expressionlessly and said calmly, "Your Highness." Bibi Dawn turned around and looked at Qian Rinxue. He was silent for a long time as he looked at his daughter. "According to the plan, you could have successfully ascended to the throne. Why did you do this?" "Bibidan's palace's palace. The Emperor's palace's plans. If I didn't ascend to the throne, the two empires and the seven sects, it would have been to have to. Wang s Rinxue s. He s to t assessed s to t test s of s. But Bibidan's assess didn't fall. Her daughter was the only one who dared to talk to her like that in the martial spirit palace. Do you know that your life was hanging by a thread this time?" Bibi Dawn took a deep breath. "If I hadn't, forget it. We didn't lose any strength. The plan could still be carried out." Bibi Dawn said in a deep voice, "You should thank Popeye for this. You should thank the Pope properly this time. If I had allowed him to infiltrate Heavendoe City, you would have been dead by now." Qian Rinxue's heart was in turmoil. Popeye and White had been lurking in Heavendoe City all this time. No wonder she wasn't surprised that Wang Feng, disguised as Popeye and White, had saved her. "Come in." Bibi Dawn tapped the ground with his scepter, making a few crisp sounds. A man walked out from the other side of the door. He was dressed in white, spotless clothes, and emitted an aura that seemed to be in harmony with heaven and earth. Qian Rinxue's heart skipped a beat when he saw this. The Popeye and White that Wang Feng had impersonated was indeed different from the real Popeye and White. It was difficult for Wang Feng to impersonate that unique aura. "I heard from the snake-spear Douluo and the others." Bibi Dawn looked at the two of them and frowned slightly. She didn't expect that her daughter would develop some special feelings for this Popeye and White because of this matter, but made sense. After all, he had saved her life. Qian Rinxue's heart skipped a beat when she saw the figure. She had already prepared the words in her heart. The real Popeye and White would definitely expose him. But Qian Rinxue wasn't afraid. Wang Feng had already left. No one knew who she had found to impersonate Popeye and White. "It's my job. You don't have to thank me." The Popeye and White only shook his head calmly. Qian Rinxue looked at the Popeye in confusion. "He didn't expose me? That's impossible." Qian Rinxue thought about it, but he couldn't figure it out. He admitted it just like that. Qian Rinxue was a little shocked. "Help me hide it? What does he want to do?" Bibi Dawn nodded and looked at Qian Rinxue. His powerful aura suddenly pressed down on her. From today onwards, you will be in the Pope's palace. I have another mission for you. Hearing this, Qianrenxue frowned and sneered. I'm sorry, Your Highness. I only listen to my grandfather's orders. I won't be in your Pope's palace. I don't want to disgust you, right? From today onwards, I will only be in the Elder's palace. You can't control me, and I don't want to participate in any of your missions. That's it. After saying that, Qianrenxue turned around and walked away. With every step she took, a little bit of blood flowed out of her mouth. Bibiden's aura was so strong that if she wanted to leave directly under her pressure, she would naturally be hurt. Bang! Qianrenxue closed the door. Seeing this, Bibi Dawn was stunned. Her face turned red and then white. She turned around abruptly, not letting the Popeye in white see her ugly face, as well as the helplessness and tears in her eyes. Take a look at her for me. Come back later. Bibiden's voice was still calm. Wang Feng nodded. It seemed that the relationship between mother and daughter was very bad. Wang Feng walked out quickly and caught up with Qianrenxue, who was about to go to the Elder's palace. Popeye is looking for me, Qianrenxue said calmly with tears in her eyes. Young master, you seem to have changed very quickly. Weren't you close with the other Popeye in white 2 days ago? Wang Feng's tone was also calm, but his words were shocking. Qianrenxue's expression changed. She looked sharply at Wang Feng and then shook her head. What is Popeye trying to say? Are you trying to say that someone impersonated you to get close to me? Sorry, I don't know you well. If someone really impersonated you to get close to me, I wouldn't be able to tell. Why can't I get close to the person who saved me? Of course, Qianrenxue wouldn't admit that she hired someone to impersonate Popeye in white. Otherwise, wouldn't she be indirectly admitting that she was the mastermind behind the Heaven Do imperial family's plan? Since Wang Feng had left, Qianrenxue wasn't afraid that Wang Feng would be exposed and arrested. End of chapter. Chapter 665. It seems that young master really thinks that I, the white-clothed Popetiff, am blind in Heaven Do City? The white-clothed Popetiff's voice was still calm, but it was so calm that it made Qianrenxue's heart jump. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Qianrenxue's expression didn't change. Wang Feng. The white-clothed Popetiff said 2 words. Qianrenxue's pupil shrank. I've been lurking in Heaven Do City for 3 months. Young master, although you did it secretly, it's impossible to hide everything from me. The white-clothed Popetiff said slowly, although I don't know why you sabotage your own plan and let Wang Feng pretend to be me. But now that it's already happened, I won't care about it. Wang Feng is the enemy of the martial spirit palace, so he's naturally my enemy. Qianrenxue stared at the white-clothed Popetiff. A chill rose in his heart. This person is too scary. He probably noticed something a long time ago. Qianrenxue didn't say a word, neither admitted nor denied it. Wang Feng wasn't present, so he could say whatever he wanted. As long as there was no evidence, it didn't matter. Forget it. It seems that young master still doesn't believe me. At this moment, the white-clothed Popetiff suddenly took out a token from his arms. Seeing this token, Qianrenxue's heart beat violently, and he felt a little suffocated. That night, after you let him leave, I've been following him. I fought with him. The white-clothed Popetiff's tone fluctuated a little. This boy is very strong. With a cultivation of more than level 60, he dared to fight with me. But he was still a little weak after all. I didn't kill him, and he escaped. However, this command medallion was left behind. Young master, are you still going to keep silent? Of course, I spared this scumbag's dog life because of you, the white-clothed Popetiff said lightly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any chance to leave alive. After hearing this, Qianrenxue subconsciously clenched his hands. This white Popetiff was truly terrifying. Feel it. The bloodstains on the medallion are still warm. If young master still doesn't want to admit it, then I can only bring his head back next time. White Popetiff said slowly. Then, he handed the token to Qianrenxue. Qianrenxue took the token expressionlessly. What do you want? Qianrenxue asked. Qianrenxue did not say anything after his plan was exposed. It was obvious that the other party had conditions. Otherwise, he would have exposed her in front of her instead of hiding it for her. It's very simple. Listen to His Highness the Pope more in the future. The white-robed Pope-tiff's tone was indifferent. His Majesty the Pope trusts me so much. I can't let His Majesty the Pope down. Plus, it was my negligence this time. Otherwise, your plan wouldn't have been implemented at all. Upon hearing this, Qian Rinxue turned around and left without saying a word. Also, I advise young master not to have any feelings for this guy. The white-robed Pope-tiff looked at Qian Rinxue's back. His voice was calm and emotionless. Based on my observation in Heavendo City and my previous experience of pretending to be this guy has at least attracted 2 girls who are dead set on him. He still wants to have 1 foot in 2 boats. What a scumbag. You two are on opposite sides. If you fight in the future, you'll only be the one who gets hurt. The white-robed Pope-tiff did not say anything. Qian Rinxue paused and said indifferently, "Ridiculous. Since Pope-tiff has been observing, can't he see that I'm just acting? How can I have feelings for him?" With that, Qian Rinxue quickly left. Wang Feng looked at Qian Rinxue and thought, "This is all I can do for now." He sighed and returned to the Pope's palace. In order to not expose his identity and not arouse Qian Rinxue's suspicion, Wang Feng could only think of this method for now. Otherwise, why didn't he, the white-robed Pope-tiff, who had never interacted with his young master, expose the fact that she found someone to pretend to be the white-robed Pope-tiff? Why did he have to help her hide it? If Wang Feng didn't do this, Qian Rinxue would definitely suspect him. Bibidon turned around and asked, "How is she?" After some adjustments, Bibidon had returned to normal, but his eyes were a little red. Fortunately, she said that she won't quarrel with you in the future. Give her some time. Wang Feng replied. Bibidon was stunned. He looked at Wang Feng, and there was a little more emotion in his eyes. "Very good. Prepare in the Pope's palace for the next few days. I'll take you to a special place." Wang Feng nodded slightly. Finally, he could enter the Rakshasa secret realm. That's the situation. In the Shrek Academy, Tang Xin recounted everything that happened in the Imperial Palace. After he finished, everyone fell into silence. The white-robed Pope-tiff was still alive. This news was too shocking, especially for Shrek and the others in the Great Star Doe Forest. How could he have survived in that situation? So, it was a martial spirit palace who deliberately released false information. Ma Hongjun scratched his head. Just to deceive us? In fact, they let the white-robed Pope-tiff hide in the dark and wait for the opportunity to attack us again. They even hid beside Xue Qinghe's crown prince. This crown prince, Xue Qinghe, was actually impersonated by the martial spirit palace for so many years. It's terrifying. Oscar felt his scalp tingle when he thought about it. The rest of the people were silent. But fortunately, Tang Xin saw through Xue Qinghe's scheme in time. Ning Fengji sighed. Tang Xin shook his head. If Uncle Ning didn't come in time, I'm afraid we would have all died there. The Qian Rinxue who impersonated Xue Qinghe looked about the same age as us. Her actual age might be slightly higher, but she was a soul sage. Most importantly, she was extremely powerful. I vaguely felt that she didn't want to kill us. Maybe she still wanted to recruit me. That was why I took advantage of the loophole and used the disorder-splitting windhammer technique. But even so, I couldn't kill her when I used 9 nines to 1. Her martial soul had 3 pairs of wings. It was a type of 6-winged angel martial soul. It was very powerful. She also had an extremely powerful innate domain. What puzzled me the most was her disguise. Xue Qinghe's martial soul was the inheritance of the imperial family, the Swan martial soul. But she was able to fool everyone. This meant that she had an extremely powerful disguise soul skill. Tang Xin finished speaking in one breath. He couldn't help but recall the past and was shocked. A 6-winged angel martial soul. Ning Fengji muttered. This is the inheritance martial soul of the martial spirit palace. The previous pope was also a 6-winged angel. This Qian Rinxue is very likely the descendant of the previous pope. The descendant of the pope was the core of the martial spirit palace. The core of the martial spirit palace had been hidden in the Heavendo Empire for more than 20 years. She was even about to take over the Heavendo Empire. Everyone felt a chill down their backs when they thought about it. In a chapter. Chapter 666. The camouflage soul skill should have come from her soul bone. It should be a special soul bone. Grandmaster's voice was a little hoarse. I once stayed in the Martial Spirit Hall for a while. This soul bone is the complete set of soul bones I told you about before. It's called the Angel God outfit. There are 6 pieces in total, and each piece is the most compatible soul bone. If you can completely absorb them, you'll be able to unleash great power. Little San, you have to be careful in the future. This Qianren Xue will become your greatest enemy. Angel God outfit. Tang San already knew how powerful this set of soul bones was when he was called a god. His expression was very serious. But you don't have to be so nervous. Grandmaster shook his head. If you want to completely absorb this Angel God outfit, you have to reach rank 100 soul power. That realm is not something that ordinary people can achieve. In addition to talent, you also need luck and opportunity. Hearing this, Tang San was stunned again. He felt a little relieved. Tang San had heard the Sword Law, Yu Engine, and other veteran titled Daluos talk about titled Daluo before. Titled Daluo of this level naturally knew the difference between titled Daluo and Yu Engine. It was very difficult to reach that legendary level. Next, you have to work hard to cultivate. The palace has changed, but fortunately, you saved the Snowy Night Emperor in time, so he is still alive. When the Snowy Night Emperor recovers a little every day, Tang San and Sect Master Ning will enter the palace. Grandmaster instructed, when you come back, we will discuss how to improve your cultivation speed. Unfortunately, Lin Feng is not here now. Otherwise, the situation would be different now. The Snowy Night Emperor's condition was not as serious as Tang San and Dugu Bo had thought. After the Qianren Xue was defeated, Tang San and Dugu Bo entered the palace and found that the Snowy Night Emperor still had about half a month of life left. But it was impossible to save him. They could only say that the Snowy Night Emperor's body recovered a little so that he could make arrangements for his death. But for the imperial family, this was a great contribution. But when they heard Grandmaster mention Wang Feng, everyone was speechless. Every time this kid ran away, he would disappear for a few months. I wonder if Big Brother Feng has found his soul beast in the north? Tang Sin shook his head and sighed softly. After Qianren Xue left the white-robed Pope Tiff, he held the token tightly in his hand and walked into the Elder's Hall without saying a word. Elder's Hall. Only titled Douluo with soul power above rank 90 were qualified to enter. It was also the highest authority of the Martial Spirit Palace. The Hall of Elders was also very quiet. When Qianren Xue walked in, it was as if he had entered another dimension. Countless voices were dispersing, until Qianren Xue saw a gray-robed old man in the middle of the hall. The old man stood under a statue of a 6-winged angel, seemingly praying quietly. He faced Qianren Xue and seemed to have been waiting for a long time. It was Thousand Daos Flo, the great consecrator of the Elder Hall. Grandfather. Qianren Xue's cold face finally softened. A smile appeared on his face, but he still looked a little tired. I'm back. The gray-robed old man opened his eyes with a hint of kindness. It's good that you're back. Why do you look so bitter? Did that Pope Tiff bully you just now? Hearing this, Qianren Xue was stunned. Grandfather, do you know that just now? Qianren Xue was puzzled. How can grandfather not know? Qianren Xue snorted coldly. Don't I know you well? When you came back, I felt that you didn't want to pretend anymore. Your mother also saw it, so she removed the title Douluo from your side to make it difficult for you to escape. Qianren Xue was silent. Those plans were made by you, right? Qianren Xue had lived for a long time. How could he not know what his most beloved granddaughter was thinking? Your mother might know something, but she didn't say anything. She didn't expect you to do this. Qianren Xue sighed. He walked to Qianren Xue and patted her head. That white Pope Tiff isn't simple either. When he came back last time, he brought back a 100,000-year-soul beast for your mother. You can say that he completely gained her trust. After that, your mother sent him to Heavendoe City. She didn't even tell me, but I can guess that she did it to protect you. Child, do you know? Hearing this, Qianren Xue was slightly stunned. I know that you're back. Qianrenxue said slowly. That white Popetiff is indeed very powerful and very special. He is also very loyal to the martial spirit palace. If you two really have feelings for each other, grandfather will support it. Qianrenxue, hearing this, Qianrenxue knew that his grandfather only guessed that he was the one who made the plan based on his understanding of him. It seemed that his grandfather didn't know that he asked Wang Feng to pretend to be white Popetiff. This information was probably leaked by the six-titled Dalu. The only one who knew that he used Wang Feng to pretend to be white Popetiff was the real white Popetiff. But if he dares to bully you, you can tell grandfather. Qianrenxue's tone changed. He said coldly, although he is very strong, I can still deal with him. Qianrenxue shook his head and said, no, I'm not. I'm only interested in my Pope. At this point, Qianrenxue thought of white Popetiff's words and couldn't help but snort. I don't want to compete with her anymore. Qianrenxue's voice was filled with determination. But I won't acknowledge her as my mother. Grandfather, I want to quickly absorb the second soul bone. I want to become stronger. I don't want the people I care about to be hurt or in danger anymore. Hearing this, Qianrenxue was slightly stunned. He laughed and said, of course. It seems that Xiao Shui has someone she cares about now. But don't blame your mother. Her pain might be much more than you think. At this point, Qianrenxue's eyes flashed with helplessness. Qianrenxue frowned slightly, but didn't reply. Your mother's strength is not inferior to mine now. She has even gathered a peerless character like the white-clothed Pope. Grandfather has no choice but to admit that she is many times stronger than your father, especially the current her. Qianrenxue looked at the Pope's palace with a strange light in his eyes. You have inherited her talent, and a part of her blood flows in your body. You can't escape this relationship. I only hope that one day, when you truly accept her, she will no longer be in this world. When that time comes, it will be too late for regrets. Qianrenxue's eyes were filled with vicissitudes. Hearing this, Qianrenxue's body trembled. However, he still stubbornly refused to speak. The elder's palace was extremely quiet. In the Pope's palace, Bibi Don changed into a rarely seen casual outfit. He wasn't wearing his usual luxurious Pope robe. Wang Wu, come with me. Bibi Dong looked down at the white-clothed man below the stage and slowly said, I'm not going to let you go. I'll take you to see another level of strength. P.S. Yes, there are 4 more updates. You can read them tomorrow morning if you're not in a hurry. But you can vote first. End of chapter. Chapter 667. Seeing Bibi Don in casual clothes, Wang Feng knew where she was taking him. However, although it was said to be casual, it was actually very gorgeous. Sure enough, women, no matter how old they were, loved to be beautiful. While thinking, Wang Feng followed Bibidon's footsteps. What kind of place was the Rakshasa secret realm? Wang Feng couldn't help but think. Could it be the same place as the Massacre City? The place I'm taking you to is called the Rakshasa secret realm. Bibi Don walked unhurriedly with Wang Feng. The two walked out of the back of the Pope's palace. They walked into the distance, but they didn't seem to have left the martial spirit city. Rakshasa mystic realm? Although Wang Feng already knew about it, hearing Bibi Don say it out loud was a different feeling. That's right, Bibi Don continued. This is a secret realm where the god's inheritance is. You have been to the Massacre City before. In fact, that place is also a special place where the god's inheritance is. Ordinary soul masters can't go there at all. At this point, Bibi Don suddenly laughed. The laughter was very cold, but Wang Feng seemed to understand something. Bibi Don seemed to have been to the Massacre City before. Since the Massacre City was the place where the god's inheritance was, with Bibidon's talent and potential, she should be valued. And if nothing unexpected happened, obtaining the Massacre God domain should be the reason why she was chosen as the inheritor. However, the Massacre God domain that Wang Feng obtained at that time was directly absorbed by the power of the blood pattern, causing the 7th blood pattern to not fully awaken. Different gods' inheritance places are different, Bibi Don said slowly. In our martial spirit palace, there is also a god's inheritance place. At this point, Bibidon paused and didn't continue. Wang Feng knew that the inheritance place of the angel god seemed to be inside the Pope's palace. Wang Feng guessed that it should be in the Elder's palace where the Thousand Dao sect was. Thinking of this, Wang Fengxin's heart moved. It seemed that the angel god and Rakshasa god were opposing each other. No wonder Bibidon and Thousand Dao sect were afraid of each other. The power of God is mighty. Bibidon's eyes glowed with a special light. But the stronger the power, the higher the requirement for us. Martial soul, soul ring, soul bone, none of these can be missing. At the same time, it requires extremely tenacious willpower. Bibidon's words could be said to have touched on the deepest secret in her heart. However, with her current trust in Wang Feng, and the fact that they had already discussed this before, there was not the slightest bit of distance between them. Many years ago, when I went to the capital of Massacre, I actually had the opportunity to inherit the god's inheritance there. A trace of unwillingness flashed across Bibidon's eyes. It's a pity that the guardian deity is not on good terms with me. Wang Feng thought about it and roughly knew who she was talking about. But later on, I still managed to obtain the legacies of other gods. Bibidon's tone was somewhat cold. You can still obtain great power. It's just that the inheritance of the gods here took too long. Because it requires too much strength, I hunt 100,000-year soul beasts to increase my strength. Aren't your soul rings full? Wang Feng pretended not to know. I have twin martial souls. I need to make my second martial soul stronger. Bibidon said plainly, as if saying that twin martial souls were as worthless as cabbages. Wang Feng, however, I do have to thank you. Bibidon's voice carried a bit of joy. Your 100,000-year soul beast is very important. Firstly, this soul beast is very suitable for me. Secondly, I just happen to lack this 100,000-year soul beast. With this soul beast, I have the confidence to pass the 8th trial. After passing it, I will probably lack the soul rings of 200,000-year soul beasts to truly cross that hurdle. In other words, Bibidon's second martial soul now also has 9 soul rings. Wang Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. If he obtained 2 more 100,000-year soul beasts, he would have 10 soul rings. This meant that Bibidon could completely bear the power of the Rakshasa god. Thinking of this, Wang Feng couldn't help but look at Bibidon. Twin martial souls, double title Douluo. The power attached to soul rings was extremely powerful. Similarly, the stronger the soul ring, the higher the physical requirements of the soul master. Bibidon's current physical strength, Wang Feng suspected that it was far stronger than his. Twin martial souls were attached with soul rings. To be able to withstand the power of so many soul rings, one could imagine how powerful Bibidon's strength was. But in terms of spiritual power, she may not be stronger than me, Wang Feng thought to himself. After learning about Bibidon's specific strength, Wang Fengxin was a little anxious. It seemed that Bibidon's strength was a little too strong. This little 3 and the others had yet to get in touch with this deity position, and Bibidon was already about to become the Rakshasa god. At this time, while chatting, Bibidon had already brought Wang Feng to a wooden house in the forest hundreds of meters away from Martial Spirit City. Although it was called a wooden house, it was more like a secret room. Looking up, one could see the Pope's palace on the mountain peak in the distance. After entering this wooden house, Wang Feng suddenly discovered that Bibidon's aura had become extremely evil and pure. Her entire body was emitting a vicious aura that seemed to have materialized and was as thick as mist. Rakshasa Mystic Realm. If you want to enter this place, you need to release the evil in the deepest part of your heart and recall the things that you are most unwilling to face. Bibidon's voice was a little hoarse. Wang Feng discovered that her eyes were a little blood red. There is no evil in my heart, Wang Feng said. Bibidon, that's right, I forgot. Bibidon suddenly smiled. You can't feel any emotions. You are indifferent to everything, pure and simple. Your heart is empty. No matter how many people you kill, no matter how dirty you are, you won't feel any evil. Then what should I do? Wang Feng asked. Bibidon pondered. Before coming, she had never considered this problem. This was because Wang Wu was too special. At this time, Wang Feng suddenly said, "Why don't you share some of your evil with me?" BB Don, how could she share it? I have a kind of domain. Wang Feng continued, "It's called the original sin domain. My body absorbs all kinds of emotions and auras and condenses them. In this domain, any living being that is weaker than me will be affected by the 7 different emotions and go crazy. In this domain, I can probably accept other people's emotions. If you can release your evil in my domain, then I can use it to feel evil." Wang Feng's words were not false. There was really no evil in his heart. Because of the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, Wang Feng's soul was too pure. It was very difficult for evil emotions and auras to be born. Even if there were, they would be absorbed. It was very difficult to let Wang Feng enter that evil state. End of chapter. Chapter 668. Unless all of Wang Feng's family members were killed and he entered a dark state, he might become extremely evil. But that was impossible. Hearing this, BB Don fell silent. The other party could absorb emotions to cultivate. In the original sin domain, he could also sense other people's emotions and evil. It was indeed possible to enter the Rakshasa's secret realm by sensing the evil she emitted. But if that was the case, Wang Wu would be able to sense her evil and understand what she was most unwilling to face. After Wang Feng finished speaking, he fell silent, waiting for Bibidon's answer. To put it simply, this method was to use the evil of others to enter the Rakshasa's secret realm. It was just that it depended on whether the other party was willing or not. Because if he accepted the evil of others, he would definitely see a lot of other people's emotions and memories. Activate your domain. Bibidon's voice became a little hoarse. Wang Feng nodded. A faint black light enveloped the entire wooden house, and the original sin domain was activated. In an instant, Bibidon's body suddenly emitted a black mist. His expression was very calm, but his whole person became a little crazy. Wang Feng's body shook. His sea of consciousness seemed to be invaded by other emotions. Countless memories and pain came one after another. The scene in front of Wang Feng slowly changed. It was still this small wooden house. Wang Feng saw many scenes and memories, but every scene exuded a desperate and crazy aura, as if he had experienced a lifetime. That feeling was like watching a movie, and it was the kind where there were movie screens in all directions. It made Wang Feng feel like he was in the scene, because Wang Feng's original sin domain was absorbing the extreme evil aura emitted by BB Dawn. Therefore, the emotions in these short scenes could be clearly felt. Gradually, Wang Feng fell silent. The memories he saw were all things BB Dawn was most unwilling to face, and at the same time, it also showed her most evil side. Wang Feng saw her killing a man with an extremely crazy expression, a man with a 6-winged angel martial spirit. He also saw the scene of BB Dawn slaughtering a 100,000-year-soul beast. For example, Xiao Wu's mother. At the same time, there were many things BB Dawn had done with iron and blood in the martial spirit palace over the past few decades. Of course, these were all fragmented and flashed by. Not a lot. Maybe it was just a small part of Bibidon's memory. However, the more he saw, the more uncomfortable he felt. Gradually, Wang Feng's eyes were dyed with traces of black light, turning completely black. The power of the blood mark appeared on his body. The 7th blood mark, which was about to be completed but was motionless, loosened a little. Following that, the surroundings began to change. After an unknown period of time, Wang Feng's consciousness slowly opened his eyes. However, his face was expressionless as he stared at the clouds in the sky. Dark clouds filled the sky and covered the earth, making it seem like a world of darkness. In this world, Wang Feng sensed many powerful auras. There was also something similar to a small city ahead of him. However, they were all very illusory and didn't seem real. It seems that your body is indeed special. Bibidon's voice came from the side. BB Dawn looked at the white-clothed Popetiff. When she first came in, she was extremely unaccustomed to the energy aura here. It seemed that as long as she moved a little, she would be able to trigger the soul power and evil desires in her body. However, Pope Tiff Wong-Wu was different. She didn't feel anything. Even her aura didn't change. BB Dawn could even feel the aura around Wong-Wu. It was still so pure. Wang Feng looked at BB Dawn and didn't know what to say for a moment. Logically speaking, although Wang Feng knew the identity and background of the famous first villain in the original work because of his previous life and also the general experience. However, when he personally felt it and saw it with his own eyes, it was a different feeling. BB Dawn, this woman is quite pitiful. Wang Fengxin shook her head. There's no need to say more. BB Dawn waved her hand and said indifferently, "It's just some rubbish from the past. For me, I don't want to forget. It's just a medium for me to enter here." She didn't care at all. Seeing this, Wang Feng nodded. BB Dawn was indeed terrifying. Her control of her emotions had reached a very terrifying level. It was completely impossible to shake her will. Even when Wang Wu sensed the things that she didn't want to face the most, BB Dawn, who had entered the Rakshasa secret realm, didn't feel embarrassed at all. A person who could control her own desires and emotions was very terrifying. Even many top powerhouses couldn't do it at all, especially behind that casual tone. Just how much willpower did it require? Actually, in terms of talent, BB Dawn is stronger than me, Little 3, and those peerless Douluo. Wang Fengxin couldn't help but think. She was a native genius of the Douluo world. She was fundamentally different from him or Little 3, who had cheats and golden fingers. At this moment, a figure floated over from afar and knelt respectfully at Bibidan's feet. "Your Majesty the Pope, why are you here? Are you planning to challenge the last 2 trials?" Seeing this figure, Wang Fengxin was shocked. This was the specter Douluo. Wang Fengxin couldn't help but feel a little surprised. After the specter Douluo escaped that day, Wang Feng thought that he was only a soul avatar and couldn't live for long. But even in the martial spirit hall, Wang Feng had never seen this specter Douluo before and felt very strange. Furthermore, Wang Feng dared to guarantee that the martial spirit hall definitely didn't have such a specter Douluo. But he actually saw this specter Douluo in this Rakshasa secret realm. However, he was like a soul avatar now, and like the scene in the distance, he was a little illusory. This really surprised Wang Feng. "You can say that. At the same time, let him have a try," BB Dawn said calmly. The specter Douluo looked at Wang Wu and was slightly stunned. He nodded and said, "So, what's His Majesty Pope Diff? But I don't think His Majesty Pope Diff knows who I am, right?" Wang Feng nodded. "My name is Luo Yu, and I'm from the Mara clan of this secret realm." The specter Daw said slowly, "We serve the noble Rakshasa god, and we are considered natural spirits. His Majesty BB Dawn is the next Rakshasa god that my Mara clan will serve. I believe that with His Majesty Bibidan's talent and strength, he will definitely be able to pass the last 2 trials and become the supreme Rakshasa god." Hearing this, Wang Feng fell silent. In the Douluo world, the gods seem to have clansmen that serve them. For example, the martial spirit hall serve the angel god. The people of the sea clan serve the sea god. For example, the king of massacre in the city of massacre. Wang Feng felt that he should be another god that they served. Perhaps, end of chapter. Chapter 669. Wang Feng had a feeling that gods who needed to pass down their legacies would definitely choose their successors in the Douluo world. However, gods couldn't enter the Douluo world as they wished. Naturally, they needed to nurture a group of believers to help them choose their successors and pass down the power of the divine position. I see. The Moro clan should be the force that BB Dawn secretly controls, right? Wang Feng seemed to understand a little. To be able to protect the gods of their faith, they naturally had great power. Evidently, BB Dawn had been through the trials for a long time. From Luo Yu's words, there were only 2 more trials left. BB Dawn would be able to obtain the true Luo Sha divine position. In the words of the Moro tribe, he was already the next god. "I'm here to take the 8th trial," Luo Yu said calmly. BB Dawn said indifferently, "Other than that, I also brought him here to take the Russian test." I'll let him experience the power of a rank 99 titled Dalu. Hearing this, the ghost Douluo was stunned. He looked at Wang Feng in surprise. The reason for his surprise was very simple. This was because this was the first time he had seen BB Dawn bring someone into the Luosha secret realm. This place was far too sinister and sinister. Aside from the Moloch clan, any human who entered this secret realm, even if they were a titled Dalu, would lose their minds and eventually die here, becoming nutrients for this secret realm. Yes, the evil energy in the Luosha secret realm was so dense. It came from all sorts of powerful beings who had failed the trials. It had been many years until BB Dawn came here. During these years, there would occasionally be other humans who accidentally entered the Luosha secret realm. Wang Feng felt that this world was more like a special spiritual world. Once someone fell into that evil state, it was very likely that they would be able to sense this place and be pulled in. Of course, this kind of situation was relatively rare. After all, not all soul masters would fall into that evil state. However, it wasn't impossible. Compared to entering the capital of massacre, it wasn't very complicated. Relatively speaking, it required someone to lead the way. Otherwise, it would depend on luck whether or not one could enter the Luosha secret realm. Luo, you didn't reject Bibidan's order. At the same time, he introduced the situation of this place to Wang Feng. And the truth was just as Wang Feng thought. If one wanted to enter the Rakshasa secret realm, they had to fulfill a few requirements, enter an extremely evil state, and possess powerful mental strength. Only then can you enter. As soon as they entered, the trial began. First, he had to be able to stay in this place. The energy here would incite the evilest thoughts in one's heart at all times. Compared to the city of slaughter, which was purely focused on killing, this place was similar. The method to enter was not complicated, but most of the people who entered were turned into nourishment, causing the energy of this world to become even more evil. But in reality, it was precisely because the evil energy in this place was too dense that it tested whether a person could truly control their own evil. Wang Feng knew that the Rakshasa deity stood on the opposite side of the god of angels. It represented evil. However, this was only an attribute. For the gods, it was only a kind of power that allowed them to become gods. As for what the real Rakshasa god was like, it could not be generalized. Our Moro clan doesn't usually go out. Luo Yu floated in the air, her body filled with a quiet energy. Once we leave, we can only find a body to attach ourselves to. Otherwise, his fighting prowess would plummet, and he wouldn't be able to survive. Moreover, only those who have reached an extremely high level can go out. We clansmen can't go out. It's the same for those who come in from the outside. Even a titled Daluo's fighting prowess will plummet in this place. Hearing this, Wang Fengxin said, it turned out that this guy had survived and used a special soul clone to escape, leaving only a body and half of his soul to be burned to ashes by the karmic fire. That wasn't his body at all. There are many restrictions, but BB Dawn also controls an extremely powerful force. Wang Fengxin thought, these Moro clansmen seem to be made up of pure spiritual power, forming mostly illusory martial souls like ghosts. They focused on spiritual and soul attacks. Wang Feng still remembered 2 moves of this ghost law. They were extremely powerful. Next, I have 2 goals. One is to destroy Bibidan's inheritance. The second is to see if I can see the power of a god. What is it like? Will it be stronger than the system? Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. He was rather curious about the test in this secret realm. After all, he should be able to see some of the power of a god, right? Luo, you led Wang Feng and BB Dawn to the small city that looked like a mirage. The people in this city were mostly clansmen like Luo Yu. Wang Feng sensed that these Moro clansmen were all very strong. But, how should he put it? They were all rather ugly. Most of them were covered in black patterns of various colors, and their figures were also very strange. Our Moro clansmen have been exposed to the evil energy here for a long time, so their body structure will change. Luo, you seem to know Wang Feng's doubts, so she explained. This ghost Dalu was considered an extremely handsome man among this group of Moro clansmen. However, He was much uglier than a normal person outside, but he was still very strong. Their soul power undulations indicated that many of them were above rank 60. If not for the fact that their abilities would be greatly reduced after entering the outside world, Dawn would probably have sent these clansmen out to search for soul beasts for him. The buildings in this mirage were very similar to those in the outside world. How are your injuries? Dawn looked at Luo. When you returned last time, you were very dispirited. How much have you recovered after entering the secret realm? Luo shook her head and said, that Wang Feng is too strange. That kind of flame of his is our natural nemesis. I haven't even fully recovered yet. Luo's expression was furious. It's definitely the nemesis of that evil and dark energy. It can directly burn the soul. If I hadn't reacted quickly and used my spiritual avatar to escape, I would have been dead by now. Your Highness, you must be careful. Luo spoke in a low voice. Dawn nodded slightly. I know. I've seen that fire before. It appeared in the Martial Soul Hall, but I didn't expect it to cause so much damage to the Moro clan. Wang Feng listened quietly at the side. Wang Wu, the tests in the Rakshasa secret realm are very helpful to any soul master once you pass them. Bibidon's eyes were filled with admiration, but it's also very difficult. Every test requires a lot of time, but failure will also result in severe punishment. This punishment is irreversible. In other words, there's no way to recover. Not everyone can inherit the power of a god, so you must think carefully. I brought you here not only to let you experience greater power, but I also hope that you can become stronger. Wang Feng nodded. Gods with such evil attributes would often face severe punishment if they failed the tests. Of course, Wang Feng didn't want to inherit the Rakshasa god. He really didn't want it, but he still needed to experience the power of a god. After all, he was now many times weaker than a god. Soon, Luo brought Wang Feng to an extremely large building. It was not inferior to the Pope's palace. It was somewhat like the dark, ancient castles in Wang Feng's memory. It was slightly gloomy, but it was also somewhat grand. It was very strange. At the top, there was a Rakshasa statue. It stared at the world, its eyes emitting an evil light. One look was enough to make one's heart tremble. This is the Rakshasa temple. Luo, you said slowly. Entering this place means that the test has begun. Your Holiness, are you sure? Yes. Yi Fuqian nodded. P.S. I'm a little tired. I still have something to do tomorrow. Although it's dangerous, I still have to go out. I'll try my best. Chapter 670. Looking at the Rakshasa temple in front of him, Wang Fengxin felt an inexplicable sense of touch. He could feel that this special power was somewhat repulsive to his aura, but it was somewhat similar to the dark angel martial soul in his sea of consciousness. Especially when he looked at the Rakshasa statue, Wang Feng could faintly feel that the dark angel martial soul was slightly throbbing, but also a little disdainful. It was a very strange thought. Why would a martial soul give me such a thought? Wang Fengxin felt that it was rather strange. Although it was only a statue of the Rakshasa god, the dark angel martial soul was still a martial soul. Could it be that the grade of this martial soul was higher than the Rakshasa statue? Wang Fengxin thought. Or could it be that the dark angel martial soul represented a god? But Wang Feng didn't remember any god like the dark angel. She seemed to be waiting for Wang Feng's answer. Luo wasn't in a hurry. Dalu wasn't in a hurry either. I'm sure. Wang Feng didn't think too much about it. Since he was here, this trial didn't matter. The main thing was that Wang Feng wanted to experience the power of a god, or what the trial was like. Hearing this, the ghost Douluo nodded. He walked out to the door of the Rakshasa temple and pressed his palm on the door. A halo of light blossomed from his palm. Every crack in the door moved slightly, revealing a sliver of a gap. Then, the door opened, revealing a ray of light. The door was extremely large, at least 10 meters tall. There were many creatures that looked like humans, but they were not humans, and they looked like beasts, but they were not beasts. They looked quite ancient, and there were also several Moro tribe members carved on the door frame. The ghost Douluo was one of them. The moment he pressed on the door, the ghost Douluo's carvings on the door frame lit up. Wang Feng knew those carvings. Before they came, the ghost Dalu had told them that the most powerful member of the Moro tribe was called King Moro, and he was the divine servant who guarded the Rakshasa god. He was even more powerful than the ghost Dalu, and he had been guarding the Rakshasa secret realm for many years. The rest were titled Douluo of the Moro clan. Only the Moro clan members on the doorframe were qualified to open this Rakshasa temple. Normally, they wouldn't easily open the temple for outsiders who came here. Usually, they would need to go through a period of tests to prove that they were qualified to participate in the tests before they would open the Rakshasa temple. Wang Feng was a special case. Bibi Don directly opened the back door for him. There was no need for those tests, and they could directly enter the temple to participate in the trial. After the door opened, there was a pitch-black light screen that emitted circular patterns. He couldn't see the world inside. It was mysterious and strange. "Go in," Bibi Don said indifferently. She was also going to enter the temple for a trial. Although the content of the trial was different, a portion of the trial was in the temple. Some of them had other conditions. However, the prerequisite was that one had to be qualified to take the test. In other words, they had to enter this temple. Entering meant that you had the qualifications to take the trial. Wang Feng nodded and followed Bibi Don into the divine temple. The ghost Dalu also followed them. That light screen was similar to a special rule. The moment Wang Feng passed through the light screen and entered the temple, he felt that many of his powers seemed to have an additional layer of lock, as if they were sealed. He couldn't use his martial soul power, or even his soul bone. Only Wang Fengxin's heart moved. Only the power of the blood traces seemed to still be there. The power of the blood traces was produced by Wang Feng cultivating the dark angel martial soul. It was very strange. It was formed by absorbing the power of various emotions. To be precise, it was derived from the dark angel Wuhan, but the dark angel martial soul was originally one. After entering the temple, Wang Feng began to sense his surroundings. The internal structure of the temple was somewhat beyond Wang Feng's expectations. The light inside was very bright. Compared to the dark sky outside, it felt like day had come from night. There was an empty hall around him. At the very front, there was an extremely grand statue of the Rakshasa god. In Wang Feng's imagination, this should be the statue of the Rakshasa god's true body. It held a pitch-black scythe and looked ferocious and terrifying. Although it was in human form, it emitted an extremely evil aura. He couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman. At the position of the heart, there was a flash of light from time to time. In front of the statue were 2 rows of ivory-like stone pillars. Each stone pillar needed at least 6 or 7 people to encircle it. It was extremely grand. There were many ancient scenes engraved on the stone pillars, but they were all bloody. Compared to the Rakshasa statue at the top of the divine temple outside, this should be the real Rakshasa god statue, right? Wang Fengxin's heart sank slightly. He could feel the pressure from this statue. In addition to this statue, there seemed to be many levels above the entire hall. Wang Feng vaguely felt several extremely powerful auras coming from above. The divine temple is divided into a total of 18 levels. According to the strength of the examinee, they will enter different levels for the trial. The ghost Dalu said simply. After entering the temple, the ghost Dalu's expression was full of holiness. The 3 of them walked to the front of the Rakshasa god statue that was at least 7 or 8 meters tall. The closer they got, the more Wang Feng could feel the pressure. This is the Rakshasa god statue. It has a trace of the Rakshasa god's divine power. Bibi Don explained to Wang Feng, "It is because of his trace of divine power that we are under such great pressure and special imprisonment in this mysterious place." At this point, Bibidon's eyes flickered with a ray of light. This is the rule of God. Even if a titled Douluo is here, it will be the same. It is similar to the domain in the City of Massacre. Wang Feng nodded slightly. "Lord Popediff, please drip a drop of blood on it." The ghost Dalu brought Wang Feng to a millstone in front of the Rakshasa god statue. At the bottom of this millstone was a ferocious beast that was connected to the Rakshasa god statue behind it. The place where the blood would drip was the beast's bloody mouth. The Rakshasa true God values bloodlines. The ghost Awe said slowly, the stronger the soul master, the stronger the bloodline. Only when the bloodline reaches a certain level will the Rakshasa God value it and obtain its recognition, giving it different trials. His Majesty Bibidon obtained the strongest Rakshasa true God's 9 trials. It is called the Rakshasa true God's 9 trials. There are a total of 9 trials. After completing the 9 trials, His Majesty Bibidon can inherit the Rakshasa God position and become a god. After that, there are the Mara True Master's 7 trials. It is also called the True Master's 7 trials. After passing the Mara 7 trials, you will have the qualifications to become the true master of the Mara tribe and lead our tribe to serve the Rakshasa god. After that, there are the Killing Evil Ghost 5 trials, the 100 Slaughter Evil Ghost 3 trials, the Human Slaughter Evil Ghost 2 trials, and so on. End of chapter. Chapter 671. After hearing the ghost Daluo's explanation, Wang Feng noticed that there were many soldiers under the huge Rakshasa god statue. There were also many soldiers guarding it. There were people like the ghost Daluo from the Moro clan, who were awe-inspiring and extraordinary. They looked like vassals guarding the Rakshasa god. There were also other ferocious, or terrifying ghosts and strange beasts. Seeing this, Wang Feng roughly understood why Bibidon brought him here. Pope Tiff, the ghost of Awe, looked at Wang Feng in a daze and reminded him, His Majesty Bibidon values you so much. Don't worry, with your talent and bloodline, you will at least pass the Evil Ghost Test 5 or above. You might even pass the Moro Test 7. Why can't it be the True God Test 9? Wang Feng asked. The ghost of Awe was stunned for a moment before replying, because the gods will only choose one successor. Secondly, the True God Test 9 has high requirements for soul masters. There are no more than 3 people on the continent like His Majesty Bibidon, and only His Majesty Bibidon meets the requirements of the Rakshasa true god. Indeed, in terms of talent, there were very few people on the continent who could compare to Bibidon. The main thing was that there were very few people who had experienced what she had. She had experienced darkness, and her spirit and soul had undergone drastic changes. There was true evil in her heart, but she was not completely devoured by this evil. That was why she was chosen by the Rakshasa god. Wang Feng frowned slightly. He turned his palm and condensed a drop of blood into the mouth of the huge beast. Seeing this, the ghost Daluo and Bibidon's eyes focused. This was the second time Wang Feng condensed blood. The first time was for Oscar to try out his soul skill. When this blood appeared, that strange fragrance appeared again. Almost in the next moment, a hint of greed and desire appeared in the ghost Daluo's eyes. Bibidon could clearly feel it too. A special desire appeared in his heart, as if he wanted to swallow that drop of blood. She couldn't help but feel shocked. This Poktif Wang Wu's body seemed to be very unique. The blood in his body actually had such a strong attraction to her and the Moro clan. It was as if swallowing this drop of blood would greatly increase one's cultivation. Bibidon calmly looked at the white-clothed Poktif. This Pope had already given her far too many surprises and pleasant surprises. Therefore, Bibidon was still able to watch calmly. In comparison, the greed and desire in the ghost Daluo's eyes were completely undisguised. There was even a thought in his mind. If he swallowed that drop of blood, his injuries would be completely healed. He could still become stronger, but not by much. It was an instinctive desire. However, the ghost of Awe was also a powerful being from the Moloch tribe, so he naturally couldn't do something like that. Furthermore, this was the Rakshasa temple, so he didn't dare to do anything and could only watch intently. The drop of blood fell into the mouth of the giant beast. The vassals of the various races around the Rakshasa true god statue began to glow intensely. First, it was the ominous ghost at the bottom, then the devil at the top, then the malevolent ghost at the top, and finally the true Lord Mara. The ghost Douluo was stunned. When the statue lit up, it meant that a different test had been activated. In other words, it meant that he had been chosen. Almost instantly, The statue of the true Lord Mara was activated. However, it didn't seem to be over. The largest Rakshasa, true god statue, also lit up. It was very fast, as if there was no hesitation. Seeing this, the ghost Douluo was stunned. Bibidon behind him was also stunned. The 9 tests of the true god. The ghost Douluo swallowed a mouthful of saliva. How is this possible? Did this mean that the Rakshasa god had chosen him? But it was impossible for a god to choose 2 inheritors. The ghost Douluo had never seen this before. He had lived for almost 100 years, and it wasn't that he had never met a genius who had passed the 9 tests of the true god, but usually after they died during the test, the next inheritor would appear and be chosen by the Rakshasa god. They wouldn't appear at the same time. Could it be that the god had changed his own rules? The ghost Douluo couldn't help but think. Bibidon was also shocked because she had officially obtained the 9 tests of the true god, so she naturally knew how harsh the conditions were. Talent aside, what puzzled Bibidon most was that Wang Wu didn't have any evil in his heart and couldn't sense any emotions. This was completely inconsistent with the selection of the Rakshasa god. How could a person without evil inherit the Rakshasa, true god, who worshipped evil power? This was the most puzzling point for Bibidon. However, Bibidon also thought of 2 possibilities. First, Wang Wu was lying. He was extremely evil, and everything was a disguise. However, this was obviously impossible. When she entered the Rakshasa illusion, Wang Wu absorbed the evil aura on her body and knew part of her heart. At the same time, Bibidon also felt the pure aura in his soul. Bibidon didn't tell Wang Wu about this. In the domain, Wang Wu could see her evil side. However, she could also feel the aura of his soul. It was really very pure. It was just that she couldn't see Wang Wu's memories. Second, Wang Wu's talent was too strong, causing the Rakshasa god to involuntarily choose him. Thinking of this, Bibidon suddenly thought of that drop of blood. That drop of blood brought her great temptation and desire. This was obviously a symbol of the other party's special physique. Bibidon thought of a thought that even shocked herself. Could it be that the god coveted Wang Wu's physique? Was that why he was chosen as the successor? For a moment, the 2 of them were filled with thoughts. At this moment, the light at the heart of the Rakshasa statue also glowed. However, the strange thing was that after the light reached its peak, it quickly dimmed. Only a pitch-black light shot out from the heart and imprinted between Wang Feng's eyebrows, forming the shape of a sickle. But it was very faint. After that, the light completely disappeared and returned to calmness, as if nothing had happened. The hall fell into an incomparable silence for a moment. The 9 tests of the Rakshasa, the ghost all walked over, her eyes still filled with disbelief. Lord Popetiff, what you obtained is the 9 tests of the true god. Her tone was extremely respectful. However, the ghost alone now felt that it was very strange. Now, there were actually 2 successors of the 9 tests of the true god who would inherit the godhood in the end. Bibidon was silent. She vaguely felt that it might not be so complicated. It's really too unbelievable. The ghost Douluo's voice was trembling. However, Wang Feng shook his head and said, "No, what I obtained was not the 9 tests of the true god, but the 2nd test of the true god." Hearing this, the ghost Douluo and Bibidon were stunned again. This is the 2nd test of the true god? Even with the ghost Douluo's experience, she had never encountered such a situation. Bibidon was also stunned. What the hell was the 2nd test of the true god? Since the Rakshasa god had acknowledged it, there would naturally be 9 tests. How could it only be the 2nd test? End of chapter. Chapter 672. But only Wang Feng knew the reason. He was indeed chosen by the Rakshasa god. There was no other way. His body was too awesome, and his talent was too strong. Wang Feng felt that his dustless glass body, which had been tempered by the red lotus karmic fire, had a pure soul and should be the most suitable for creating a deity position. He could reach an extremely high degree of compatibility with any god. To put it simply, he was like a blank piece of paper, and any god could change this blank piece of paper into a satisfactory shape according to their requirements. He wasn't like Bibi Dong or any other soul master who had a fixed form. This was also the reason why the deity position was so difficult to pass down. It could be said that all soul masters, no matter how talented they were, had different experiences in the process of postnatal cultivation, and the final mature self was also different. And different gods had extremely high requirements. It was useless to be talented, and one also needed to reach a degree of compatibility with the god to inherit. The Bibi Don was like this. Wang Feng roughly knew why the Bibi Don was so compatible. So the Rakshasa god chose him. To be precise, she chose him instantly. Moreover, it was not the second test, but the first test. Wang Feng purposely said that last part of the test. But why was there only one test? It was very simple. Because after the light from the Rakshasa god statue entered his sea of consciousness between his eyebrows, more than half of it was directly swallowed by the dark angel martial soul. That light should be the will power of the divine power contained in the statue. It was a symbol and proof of approval. It was absorbed by the dark angel martial soul. At the same time, Wang Feng found that the seventh blood pattern was finally full, and the progress bar seemed to have reached 100% from 99%. This really shocked Wang Feng. Ever since he had eaten the 7 emotions, 6 desires grass in the Medicine Spirit Valley, he had reached 99% of the 7th blood mark. However, he had never been able to reach that tiny bit. Who could have thought that after absorbing the sliver of God energy from the sculpture, he would actually be able to fill up his body? After it was full, the will power of the Rakshasa god was only a little bit left, so there was only one test. I didn't expect the blood pattern to need to absorb divine power to finally grow and take shape. Wang Fengxin's heart suddenly moved. The 7th blood pattern was very strange. It was formed by absorbing the killing god domain. The killing god domain itself should also be a weakened version of a god domain. No wonder it was so difficult to cultivate the 7th blood tattoo. In order to complete it, one would need the power of a god. Just like that, the 7 blood runes derived from the dark angel martial soul were all cultivated by Wang Feng. Wang Feng wasn't very clear about its specific use, but a pair of wings suddenly appeared on the dark angel's back, as if they were hidden. They were vivid and lifelike, and there was even a faint image of a Rakshasa on them, which made Wang Feng feel a little apprehensive. This pair of wings was larger than the other 6 pairs, and it looked very strange. The cultivation of the dark angel martial soul should be considered complete. Wang Fengxin took a deep breath. Although he did not know what kind of changes would occur, both his martial soul and the power of the blood marks would be greatly enhanced. However, there was no way that Bibi Don and the Phantom Douluo would know about this. What is the content of the first test? Your Holiness Pope Tiff. The spectral Douluo asked carefully. In the end, it was a true god test. No matter how many tests there were, they were all extremely difficult. It was far more difficult than the Mara 7 tests. Wang Feng said firmly, the content of the first test is to ascend to the 16th floor of the Rakshasa temple and defeat the soul beast imprisoned by the Mara clan, the Sky Luo Dark Feather Beast. The content of this test was the will of the Rakshasa god, which was contained in the last remaining will. The rest of the will had been swallowed by the dark angel to cultivate the blood marks, so there were no other tests and rewards. Sky Luo Dark Feather Beast? The spectral Douluo was slightly taken aback. This seems to be the last test of the true God Stage 7 tests. Is this the first test? Wang Fengxin thought, of course not. It's just that the last remaining will of the Rakshasa god is not sure which test of the 9 tests it is. The Sky Luo Dark Feather Beast has a cultivation of 100,000 years. The spectral Douluo frowned. But even a rank 99 title Douluo would find it extremely difficult to defeat it. Hearing this, Wang Feng was quite surprised. A rank 99 title Douluo wanted to defeat a 100,000-year soul beast? It was very simple. Why was it so difficult? This beast is a monster born of the Moro clan and a soul beast. The spectral Douluo shook his head. And that soul beast is called the Sky Luo beast. Because it is the offspring of the Moro clan and a soul beast, this Sky Luo dark feather beast has the characteristics of both clans. Any offensive soul skill is ineffective against it, and its soul is extremely strong, so it is immune to any spiritual attacks. Unless one has divine power, it is impossible to defeat it. Hearing this, Wang Feng understood. The characteristics of the Moro clan were immunity to physical attacks and strong spiritual power. It was very difficult to deal with this Moro clan. Back then, Wang Feng had relied on the Red Lotus karmic fire to defeat the spectral Douluo. This Sky Luo dark feather beast was equivalent to being immune to 2 defenses, so it was naturally very difficult to defeat it. But Wang Feng didn't care. What about the second test? The spectral Douluo continued to ask. Hearing this, Wang Feng's heart stirred, and he said without batting an eyelid, "The second test is to help the Pope pass the True God 9 tests and become a true God." Hearing this, both of them were stunned. Of course, Wang Feng was making it up. The first test was real. The remaining will that Wang Feng had sensed from the Rakshasa god was this test. The reason why he made up the second test was because Wang Feng had to participate in the Bibidon's test. Only then would he have a chance to destroy the Bibidon's test, destroy the inheritance of her Rakshasa god position. Otherwise, given the Bibidon's personality, she might not agree to let him participate in her test so casually. If that happened, it would be difficult to find an opportunity. After all, this secret realm was not simple. Wang Feng was also finding an excuse for himself. With this excuse, the BB Dawn wouldn't say anything more. Help Her Majesty the BB Dawn? The spectral Douluo was a little surprised. It's actually such a strange test. Could this be the reason why the Rakshasa god chose you? But there are only 2 tests? Thinking of this, the spectral Douluo couldn't help but laugh, as if he felt that his guess was correct. Could it be because you sense my evil aura and enter the secret realm? However, the BB Dawn seemed to have thought of something and couldn't help but say slowly. The spectral Douluo was even more surprised when he heard this. Didn't Poptif enter the secret realm by himself because he sensed the evil in his heart? If he entered the secret realm by sensing Her Majesty the Bibidon's evil aura, then it must be because of this. After all, it's impossible for the Rakshasa god to have 2 successors. When you entered the secret realm, you had this relationship. That's why the Rakshasa god chose Her Majesty the Poptif, but she only gave him 2 tests. The first test should be to verify whether Poptif has the strength to assist Her Majesty the BB Dawn. Once you pass, then the second test is to assist Her Majesty the BB Dawn. End of chapter. Chapter 673. BB Dawn nodded at the ghost Douluo's words. Clearly, she agreed with him. Otherwise, the Rakshasa god wouldn't have chosen 2 successors. Wang Feng. Logically speaking, Wang Feng was truly dumbfounded by the forced explanation of the 2. I'm just making things up. This was completely reasonable. When Wang Feng heard that, he actually felt that it made some sense. Even he himself believed it. However, after their explanation, they didn't have any doubts about Wang Feng's second test. After all, only Wang Feng knew the content of this test. Then, Your Majesty Poptif, please follow me. The ghost Douluo smiled and said, I'll take you to the 16th floor to let you see the strength of this Sky Luo dark feather beast. Normally, tests have a time limit. For such a powerful soul beast, you don't have to make a move before you find its weakness. However, if you can pass this test, you can help Her Majesty BB Dawn. That's great. The ghost Douluo said as he led Wang Feng to the 16th floor. BB Dawn didn't say anything. The content of the 9 tests of the True God test was very difficult. She had spent so many years to reach the 8th test. One had to know that this kind of test was very dangerous. Once she failed, even if she didn't die, she would lose the right to inherit the deity position. In more serious cases, her cultivation would regress, and it would be difficult for her to improve. In the worst case, she would die. Every step was extremely dangerous. BB Dawn naturally wouldn't mind if Wang Wu's second test helped her. This meant that her chances of becoming a god were higher. Moreover, her 8th test was extremely difficult. Bibi Dan was confident, but with Wang Wu, she might be able to become a deity in advance. No matter what, there was no harm. Bibi Dan also wondered if this Wang Wu had the intention to destroy her deity position. But after thinking about it, she felt that it was impossible. There was no enmity or hatred. If this Wang Wu really had a grudge against her, he wouldn't have brought that 100,000-year-soul beast back. It was impossible for him to know the secret of her deity position inheritance. He didn't know much about her, and it was even more impossible for him to do this to gain her trust. Bibi Dan had never told anyone about the secret of the divine throne inheritance. Moreover, many times, Wang Wu could make the martial spirit palace lose a lot of soldiers and generals. But he didn't do that. That was the soul hunting plan and the beast hunting plan. As long as Wang Wu had the slightest evil intention, the martial spirit palace would suffer a great loss. Not to mention Qianrenxue and Hulaina. After going through so much, Bibidan's trust in Wang Wu had already reached an extreme. Soon, they arrived at the door to the 16th floor. The sky Luo dark feather beast is inside. The netherworld Douluo was a little shocked. He pushed open the door and led Wang Feng into the 16th level of the temple. This floor was actually very large. The moment he entered, Wang Feng sensed that he had been locked down by an extremely powerful aura. They entered a high platform, which was blocked by a light screen. It was surrounded by black iron walls that were as smooth as jade. It looked like a black cage, but this cage was very big. It was at least 300 square meters. Looking down from the high platform, one could only see a black dot. Seeing this, Wang Feng was stunned. That's the sky Luo dark feather beast? He thought it was a huge soul beast, but when he looked down, he only saw a child. Cough, cough, that's it. The netherworld Dalu pointed at the child. This child is very special. He's young, but his parents are dead. But he inherited their powers. His father is a 100,000-year soul beast, and his mother is a titled Dalu of the Molo clan. All these years, to prevent riots, this child has been staying here. He's half human, half beast. Once he's angered, he'll transform back into his original form. Hearing this, Wang Feng couldn't help but sigh at the wonders of this world. Only 100,000-year soul beasts could transform into human form, and then their cultivation would return to zero. They could only break the shackles when they cultivated to the titled Douluo realm. But this child had inherited his parents' powers, and he was still in human form. Both his parents are dead, and he inherited their powers. This is the template of a main character? Wang Feng thought. Is he the main character of a soul beast? Thinking about it, Tang San and Xiao Wu don't seem to be much. This is a precedent, right? Even though he was a Molo clan member, he was still a Molo clan member. Lord Popetiff, please observe him first, and then the netherworld Dalu hurriedly said. However, before he could finish his sentence, Wang Feng rushed out of the protective light barrier and fell from the high platform. The netherworld, he wanted to say that he should think about his chances of defeating Wang Feng. He didn't expect Popetiff to jump down just like that. Your Majesty, Bibi Dan this. The netherworld Douluo took a deep breath. At this moment, Wang Feng jumped down. A translucent black light barrier enveloped the entire room. This meant that the test had begun. He couldn't interfere. Let's watch first. Bibi Dan frowned. Wang Wu's arrogance and confidence hadn't changed at all. Of course, it had to be said that this was also a unique charm. Bibi Dan didn't think Wang Wu could defeat this Skynet dark feather beast. But Bibi Dan still chose to believe in Wang Wu's strength. But once the test begins, there's only success and failure. The ghost Dalu shook her head. If he fails, not only will the Pope not be able to help His Majesty, he will also be in great danger. Every step of the true God test is extremely difficult. It's not like you don't know that. Lord Popetiff is still too radical. In the Moro tribe, there hasn't been a Moro king who could defeat this Skynet dark feather beast. There was one who tied. Speaking of which, I'm reminded of Wang Feng. The netherworld Thaw suddenly said, his flame is the bane of the Moro tribe, and it's also very effective against this Skynet dark feather beast. Humph. BB Don snorted and said coldly, if he dares to enter the secret realm, his strength will be suppressed. It's impossible for him to defeat you. There is a special suppression in the Divine Temple. Martial souls and soul skills couldn't be used. But the test was an exception. At this moment, Wang Feng had just landed when he sensed the child's aura. It was a boy with black eyes and black hair. He looked delicate and cute, less than a meter tall, with dark circles around his eyes and messy clothes. He reminded Wang Feng of the demon child Neza in a movie from his previous life. Big brother, you smell so good, the child with dark circles suddenly said. Wang Feng. This little kid's first sentence made Wang Feng feel a little amused. Compared to you, those soul masters from before are not even comparable to a pile of shit. The child shrugged and put his hands in his pockets. I've suffered for so many years. Finally, I can eat a good meal. End of chapter. Chapter 674. Wang Feng. So those who came to take the test were all eaten? Thinking of this, Wang Feng could not help but look at the child in surprise. According to the Phantom Dalu, this Douluo dark feather beast was the last test of the Mara 7 tests, and it was also the most difficult test. Normally, those who took part in such a test and reached this step were all powerful soul masters with innate talent and strength. Eden, doesn't this mean that the kid's strength has increased? Wang Feng suddenly looked at the Phantom Dalu. Don't tell me the 100,000-year cultivation that the Phantom Dalu mentioned is from a long time ago. The Phantom Dalu seemed to have sensed Wang Feng's gaze. The Phantom Dalu suddenly thought of something and exclaimed, "Oh no, Your Majesty BB Don, we seem to have underestimated this soul beast strength. His 100,000-year cultivation should be his initial strength. Over the past few decades, he has eaten many participants who reached the 7th test. I'm afraid his strength has increased greatly." BB Don glanced at the Phantom Dalu coldly. "Idiot, you only said it now." However, ever since she was qualified to take the 9 tests, fewer and fewer people entered the Luosha secret realm. No one else took the Mara 7 tests, so the Phantom Dalu must have forgotten about it. Then we'll have to trouble. BB Don looked down, and his tone was a little shaky. Wang Feng didn't say anything, and he activated the power of his blood patterns. He only activated 6 of them, but his aura instantly rose. Boundless black light enveloped a few hundred meters around Wang Feng. It was the original Sin's domain. Several mysterious underworld flying swords appeared behind Wang Feng. The cauldron of heaven and earth appeared in Wang Feng's hand, and several soul rings rose. The blood-red 100,000-year soul rings made the black-eyed kid frown. Wang Feng's current strength was comparable to a rank 96 title Dalu. The kid sniffed and looked at Wang Feng in surprise. "It smells too good." "No, big brother, I can't hold it anymore. I want to eat you." As he spoke, the kid drooled and rushed towards Wang Feng. He didn't seem to be afraid of Wang Feng's current state. Whoosh! The child instantly disappeared from where he stood, and a series of explosions suddenly sounded in the air. Boom! In the next second, the child opened his mouth and bit toward Wang Feng's shoulder as if he had teleported. "Wang Feng, do you really want to eat me?" Wang Feng was speechless. He was as still as a mountain, his entire body flickering with icy light. His ice reflection soul skill was also activated. This child appeared to be very small, but he was terrifyingly fast, and Wang Feng felt that he was significantly faster than the ghost Dalu. Crack, crack. The child's mouth landed on Wang Feng's shoulder, breaking a tooth. Then his entire body was quickly frozen. Wang Feng gave a side kick. The huge force passed through the ice and hit the child. Rumble. The force behind this kick was so great that it created an explosive air current where it stood, and the child was sent flying. Subsequently, the Netharism flying sword behind him instantly locked onto the child. The pitch-black light seemed to form a net of swords, tearing the child apart. A Netharism flying sword directly landed in Wang Feng's hand. Wang Feng was already very familiar with the first 3 moves of the 7 killing swordplay. Sword-raising duckweed, 7 emotions soul-extinguishing, and sword-splitting southern mountain. Endless golden light shot out from the long sword in Wang Feng's hand. Many different sword intents were hidden in the sword light, and they were very powerful. The last move was like a thunderbolt, and the terrifying pitch-black longsword that was more than 10 meters long slashed down. Rumble. It seemed like it was only a short 2 to 3 seconds, but the attack in this instant was executed smoothly. The child was directly hit on the smooth black wall, and a clear mark was left on him. Patter. At this moment, the child, who had already recovered from the ice reflection soul skill, fell down from the wall. Wang Feng watched quietly. This little kid obviously hadn't used his true strength yet. Any title Dalu below rank 96 would definitely die if he unleashed this attack. The child stood up and spat out a mouthful of blood. A look of surprise flashed across his eyes. He didn't seem to have such a delicious feast, but he was actually quite strong. So tough. The child frowned and stomped his foot. Suddenly, the entire floor seemed to shake. Following this, the child's body started to turn illusory, and his body started to shine with light. In Wang Feng's eyes, it was like a Digimon was evolving. Its body started to change too. It became bigger. In the blink of an eye, it became a huge beast. It looked like a tiger, but only its head was like a dragon's body. There was even a pair of black wings on its back. It was at least 5 to 6 meters tall. It should be the true form of the Skynet dark feather beast. However, a terrifying aura was instantly released from this child's body. There were even 9 soul rings that lit up from this huge beast body. Seeing this, Wang Fengxin was shocked. He recalled that the Phantom Douluo had said that this child had inherited his parents' strength. Could it be that he had inherited everything? The last soul ring was blood red. Right now, the Skynet Dark Feather Beast's aura was many times stronger than before, and its body was in a semi-illusory state. Wang Feng frowned as he saw this. The shimmering flying sword flashed like flowing light, but the Skynet Dark Feather Beast didn't dodge. The flying sword landed on its body, but it didn't have any effect. At this moment, the Skynet Dark Feather Beast attacked Wang Feng again. At the same time, the soul rings on its body started to shine. Indeed, the child in human form didn't have the immunity that the Phantom Douluo mentioned. However, after revealing his true form, Wang Feng looked at this strange 100,000-year soul beast. It's not just 100,000 years. I'm afraid it's close to 150,000 years. Wang Feng was speechless. The information given by the Phantom Douluo was too inaccurate. The Skynet Dark Feather Beast stared at Wang Feng with its pitch-black eyes. Its body seemed huge, but its speed was many times faster than before. It flapped its wings, which were 3 to 4 meters long, and instantly disappeared before reappearing in front of Wang Feng. It clawed at Wang Feng. It was too fast. If Wang Feng had opened his spatial realm, he could have dodged it with the help of the forward secret art. However, it was impossible for Wang Feng to dodge it now. However, Wang Feng didn't think about dodging. Icy light flashed as he unleashed his ice reflection. At the same time, the cauldron of heaven and earth in his hand released a beam of rainbow light. The divine light of heaven and earth landed on Wang Feng's body almost at the same time as the claw struck him. 3 bloody wounds appeared on Wang Feng's body after he was sent flying by the claw. Fortunately, Wang Feng managed to dissipate some of the force while he was in midair. He didn't crash into the wall like his opponent. Wang Feng pushed off with his feet and supported himself against the wall. He slowly descended and furrowed his brow as he looked at his opponent. The Skynet Dark Feather Beast didn't react to the divine light of heaven and earth. More accurately speaking, the divine light of heaven and earth passed through its body. It didn't attack it at all. It seems like it's really immune to soul skills. It's immune to soul skills. It's impressive. Wang Fengxin thought to himself, this Skynet Dark Feather Beast was as difficult to deal with as the Phantom Douluo. Furthermore, This Skynet dark feather beast was many times stronger than the phantom Douluo. Just its raw strength alone was too strong. It had more than 100,000 years of cultivation. Without the divine light of heaven and earth, it was too difficult for Wang Feng to deal with it in his current state. No wonder it was said that even a rank 99 transcendent Douluo would be helpless against it. P.S. Please count votes. I should be able to write 2 more chapters in a chapter. Chapter 675. At this moment, the ghost Dalu and Don were watching this scene from the high platform. The Skynet dark feather beast has transformed into a soul beast. Even a Molo family and my martial soul can't hurt it. The ghost Dalu's voice was low. I'm afraid that Pope Tiff, Don was silent, but her aura fluctuated. She could sense how strong this Skynet dark feather beast was. Wang Wu's cauldron of heaven and earth couldn't do anything to it. This was enough to prove the problem. Given the Skynet dark feather beast's current state, Wang Wu had no chance unless she attacked. But the test had begun. If Wang Wu couldn't defeat this Skynet dark feather beast, he couldn't help her in God's eyes. After all, the second test was related to the first test. Even if he fails the test, he can't die. Dawn took a deep breath. She had already passed the 7th test. It wasn't difficult for her to use her abilities, because she had to prepare for the divine test at all times. Before she obtained the complete abilities of a Rakshasa god, Dawn couldn't attack as she wished. She couldn't unleash her full abilities. This was very dangerous. Even if we exclude the fact that the Skynet dark feather beast is immune to soul skills and damage, it's still very strong. Just its current strength alone is not something that a normal titled Dalu can deal with. The ghost Dalu continued. Its cultivation should be between 130,000 years ago. It inherited its parents' abilities. It was born with great strength. Indeed, the Skynet dark feather beast's current strength was enough to crush Wang Feng in his current state. In terms of humans, it was at least equivalent to a rank 98 titled Dalu. This was also because the Skynet dark feather beast wasn't a soul beast with a strong bloodline. Coupled with its immunity to soul skills, even a rank 99 titled Dalu couldn't do anything to it. Below, Wang Feng coughed a few times. The 3 wounds on his body had already recovered. This soul beast was indeed strong. It didn't use any soul skills. Just an ordinary claw attack was already so powerful. If it used any soul skills, Wang Feng felt that he might not be able to defeat it, even if he used the other 4 forms of the chaotic green lotus. His opponent hadn't even used his domain. Due to the huge difference in strength, his original Sin domain had little effect on him. Strong. Wang Feng sighed. Ha! Big brother, am I super strong? The child's voice rang out again. It sounded immature, but it came from the mouth of the Skynet dark feather beast. I haven't even used 1/5 of my strength yet. Are you going to be my meal? Or will you obediently become my meal? Wang Feng did not think that this child was bragging. It was possible that it hadn't even unleashed 1/5 of its strength. Wang Feng took a deep breath and put away the universal cauldron. The strength of this Skynet dark feather beast exceeded Wang Feng's imagination. It was no wonder why it was listed as one of the Mara 7 trials. It was truly unrealistic to think that one could defeat the other party in such a trial. Furthermore, if he took it one step at a time and passed the first 6 tests, he would still have a chance of passing the final test. That was because after passing the first 6 tests, one's strength would increase tremendously. Facing this final test, one would naturally be much more confident. Due to special reasons, Wang Feng was only left with a true God trial. He didn't receive any other tests or rewards. Hence, in the ghost Dalu's opinion, it was completely impossible to defeat this Skynet dark feather beast. In fact, if Wang Feng was in his best state and used the Pangu axe, he should have a 20 to 30% chance of winning. However, he was only one step away from destroying Bibidon's godly position. How could Wang Feng expose himself like this? That was definitely not possible. After thinking for a moment, Wang Feng spun his hand. A small red and purple flag suddenly appeared in his hand. It emitted a scorching light. Floating flame flag, it's up to you now. Wang Fengxian was calm. This was the first time Wang Feng used this small flag. However, Wang Feng could roughly guess its function. He hadn't had a chance to use it yet. Now, he finally had one. Chaotic yin and yang, reversing the 5 elements. Of course, this flame flag wouldn't have such a powerful function. It was only a martial soul. However, Wang Feng guessed that this flag should have the ability to break through many restraints and characteristics. It could reverse the situation. Right now, if he wanted to defeat this soul beast, he had to be able to injure it. It was immune to both defenses and soul skills. Unless he used the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, there was no way he could hurt it. However, the karmic fire of the Red Lotus might not be able to hurt it. The ghost Dalu could only be hit because he relied on the strength of his martial soul. He wasn't strong himself, so it was easy for him to be hit. Even if Wang Feng could attack it, he would definitely expose himself. Furthermore, he would be in great danger. If he couldn't break its special immunity, Wang Feng wouldn't be able to defeat it. Under the control of Wang Feng's soul power, the purple light instantly engulfed the Skynet Dark Feather Beast. The light released by this flag could only be used on a single soul beast. It couldn't be used on a group. Furthermore, there was a time limit. In the next moment, a Xianming flying sword suddenly attacked the Skynet Dark Feather Beast. A black flowing light appeared, but the soul beast didn't try to dodge. It was extremely strong. Furthermore, it was immune to all attacks and soul skills. Amplification and weakening effects were useless against it. It also had immense spiritual power. It was impossible for this sword to injure it. Swish! The flying sword flashed past and left a hair-thin wound on its body. The Skynet Dark Feather Beast. What's going on? At this moment, it wasn't the only one. Even Bibi Dong and the ghost Dalu were stunned by this turn of events. Immediately after, the heavenly net Dark Feather Beast's illusory body suddenly solidified before their eyes. It seems like it was attacked, and it's injured. The ghost Dalu was confused. How was that possible? Bibidan's eyes sparkled as she looked at the flag in Wang Wu's hand. It was a reddish-purple flag. It was similar to the white flag that she had seen before. However, it was used to store 100,000-year soul beasts. Logically speaking, it was very useful. According to Wang Wu, he had absorbed the soul ring of the 5-headed star dragon. The flag's martial soul would undergo different changes and possess different abilities. What's the use of his flag now? It seemed like it could break the Skynet Dark Feather Beast's immunity and hurt it directly. If that was the case, it was very powerful. The main thing was that it was too targeted. It had to be known that many soul masters had extremely powerful immunity or restraining abilities. This flag, Wang Feng squinted his eyes and sensed the Skynet Dark Feather Beast that was slowly materializing. It seemed like his guess was correct. End of chapter. Chapter 676. At this moment, the Tianluo Dark Feather Beast roared furiously, as if it was furious that it was injured. Although the wound was too small and healed very quickly, it had never been injured before. It was like a child who had never been beaten but was slapped in the face one day. It was furious, extremely furious. Its entire body swelled up, and several soul rings lit up on its body. Its tyrannical aura became even stronger. Do you think it's useful just because you can attack me? The child's roar sounded. Streaks of black patterns lit up on its body as its soul rings flickered. Wang Feng could feel its aura becoming stronger. Evidently, it was using its soul rings. It's a little unreasonable. Wang Feng frowned slightly. The flame flag barely broke its immunity and allowed him to attack it. Even so, it was still very difficult to defeat it. However, if he could attack it, it meant that he had a chance of defeating it. Streaks of light were emitted from this soul beast's body and spread in all directions. It's the power of a domain. Wang Fengxian's heart sank. This Tianluo Dark Feather Beast had such a special origin. How could it not have a domain? Wang Feng groaned as he was engulfed by the domain. He felt that his soul power had solidified, and he couldn't move it. It was so slow that it felt like he had prostatitis. Although it was still in his body, he couldn't get it out. At this moment, the Tianluo dark feather beast opened its mouth and shot out several streaks of black light. At the same time, it attacked Wang Feng again. Wang Feng was startled. The numerous pitch-black rays of light instantly bombarded his body. Wang Feng felt his spirit tremble, and he became very dazed. This was a spiritual attack. Fortunately, his spiritual power was very strong, and he wasn't hit. However, he was dazed for a few seconds. When he came back to his senses, the soul beast was already in front of him. Its claws seemed to have evolved. Cold light flashed, and they seemed to be condensed with terrifying black energy. It carried an evil aura as it slashed towards Wang Feng again. If it hit, Wang Feng felt that he would be severely injured. At the crucial moment, Wang Fengxin's heart moved, and the power of the seventh blood pattern on his body was activated. Wang Feng didn't activate it before because he was worried that something special would happen. He wanted to try it when he was alone to prevent any accidents. However, Wang Feng felt that he couldn't wait any longer. A blood-colored pattern suddenly lit up from Wang Feng's body through his white robe. Rumble. Wang Feng felt as if his entire body was about to explode. A terrifying power emanated from the seventh blood mark. The different essences seemed to fuse together, causing Wang Feng's aura to soar to the pinnacle in an instant. A cold, lonely, and selfless aura formed around Wang Feng's body as if it had materialized. Under the explosive power, Wang Feng's body turned dark. His mask exploded, revealing a face that could make people feel inferior to him. There was not a trace of emotion in his pitch-black eyes. 7 blood tattoos spread from Wang Feng's limbs all the way to his heart. At this moment, they glittered like 7 shooting stars. They converged at the heart that was like the sun. The true original Sin domain turned into an endless black light. It had the power to devour and cover everything, and it clashed with the Skynet Dark Feather Beast domain. Without the corrosion of the domain, Wang Feng regained control of his soul power. At this moment, the claw descended. Black light flashed in Wang Feng's eyes. It was as if night had descended, and he disappeared from where he was. Rumble. This claw landed on the ground, causing the entire floor to tremble violently. It was as if it was about to collapse. The Skynet Dark Feather Beast was stunned. It didn't expect Wang Feng to be able to dodge its attack. However, it reacted quickly. Its body flashed, and it disappeared from where it was. Almost immediately after it disappeared, Wang Feng's mysterious underworld flying sword slashed through the air. The Skynet Dark Feather Beast suddenly looked at the human in front of it quietly. His aura had become stronger. It was very strange. Subtly, it felt an instinctive fear. It was like the instinctive fear that a lower life form would have towards a higher life form. At this moment, Bibidon and the Netherworld Douluo were also stunned as they watched this scene from the high platform. It's also an extremely dark aura. The Netherworld Douluo was astonished. But it's so pure. It's very strange. Your Majesty Bibidon, Your Majesty Popediff, do you have some special ability? Bibidon squinted and didn't say anything. This dark aura wasn't evil. She knew that Wang Wu relied on absorbing many emotions to cultivate. This was actually very exaggerated. The more he absorbed, the easier it was to affect himself. However, Wang Feng's body was special, and he couldn't sense any emotions. It could be said that they were a perfect match. If someone else had such a special cultivation method to increase their soul power, they wouldn't even need to think about it. They would have exploded and died. It was also because of this that Wang Wu was so strong. He relies on absorbing emotions to cultivate. It's a special ability that allows him to explode. Bibidon said plainly, he can explode in a special state and increase his fighting strength greatly. However, he seems to have become stronger. He is indeed a true genius. He's an incomparable genius. It was impossible to reach Wang Wu's level without this kind of body. It was impossible to reach that level without this kind of cultivation method. Of course, these were all Bibidon's thoughts. They weren't wrong. Wang Feng had activated the power of 7 blood patterns. The increase in power he had far exceeded the power of 6 blood patterns. It was like activating the fetters of 6 people. Besides the addition of the power of the 7th blood pattern, there was also the addition of the powers of all the blood patterns. This was a brand new change. It allowed Wang Feng to enter an even stronger level. At the same time, his original Sin's domain was also strengthened. This was because the original Sin's domain and the power of the blood patterns were first closed. The original Sin's domain before this was only half complete. It was only complete now. Wang Feng was only able to resist the Tianluo Beast domain with this completed original Sin's domain. The Tianluo Beast only took a few glances before attacking Wang Feng again. Evidently, it couldn't defeat it even though it could sense how strong Wang Feng was. In other words, there was still a long way to go. However, the Tianluo Beast was no longer immune to damage and soul skills. This meant that Wang Feng could hurt it. Wang Feng didn't know how long the effects of the floating flame flag could last. Wang Feng was expressionless as the cauldron of heaven and earth spun. Wang Feng was expressionless as he watched the Tianluo Beast attack him again. After activating the power of 7 blood patterns, he could completely dodge it. His current abilities were much weaker than the Tianluo Beast's. This fellow was simply too strong. Even if a rank 98 title Dalu could hurt him, they might not be able to defeat him. End of chapter. Chapter 677. With the addition of the power of 7 blood patterns, Wang Feng's current abilities couldn't compare to a rank 98 title Dalu at the pinnacle of rank 97. He was about the same as the golden alligator Dalu. After dodging, Wang Feng didn't hesitate. An icy-colored mysterious light shot out from his abdomen. At the same time, a small star-like core appeared in front of him. When the icy-colored mysterious light struck the core, it doubled in size. Almost instantly, it hit the Tianluo Beast. Instantly, the Tianluo Beast was frozen into a popsicle. Divine light of heaven and earth. Wang Feng could sense that the floating flame flag's effect wouldn't last long, especially against a soul beast of this level. It wouldn't last more than 10 seconds. The effect of the soul sealing technique on the Tianluo Beast could only last for less than a second, a fraction of a second. Fortunately, with the strengthening of the star core, the freezing time was increased to close to 2 seconds. With this time, the divine light of heaven and earth would hit. The 7-colored divine light flew out from the cauldron and hit the Tianluo Beast. Finally, the Tianluo Beast was hit. Under the effect of the divine light of heaven and earth, its huge body quickly shrank. In the end, it became half human and half beast. Seeing this, Wang Fengxin couldn't help but laugh. Logically speaking, he couldn't defeat the Tianluo Beast even if he opened 7 blood patterns. Furthermore, the bigger it was, the more he was at a disadvantage. That was because opening 7 blood patterns drained too much of his soul power and spiritual power. If not for the fact that Wang Feng's spiritual power had increased, he wouldn't have been able to maintain it for long. Coupled with his soul skills, the Tianluo Beast wouldn't be drained too much. He would definitely be the first to fall. However, the divine light of heaven and earth was a godly skill. As long as he was hit, he would revert back to his original form. However, as the Tianluo Beast was too strong, it didn't revert back to its original form. Instead, it became half human and half beast. However, its strength and aura were greatly reduced. Wang Feng charged forward. At this moment, the spirit seal's effect was over. Pa! 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 Wang Feng used his remaining strength to charge forward and beat it up. This kid recovered from his spirit seal. He was still a little dazed. He didn't know what had happened. The spirit seal skill could even freeze one's spirit. Wang Feng did not give him a chance to think at all. His fists rained down like a storm. In just a few seconds, the little brat's entire body was swollen with countless large bumps. Countless wounds quickly appeared on his body, but they quickly disappeared. This little brat could really take a beating. Even a Netherresim flying sword was unable to cause a very deep wound on his body. Most importantly, his healing ability was extremely powerful. It was only now that Wang Feng recalled that the Skynet beast was a soul beast with extremely strong healing abilities. Moreover, it was a healing ability that could restore one's mental state. It was a double recovery, but there was definitely pain. Unfortunately, if he had the soul-slaying spear, this little brat would have screamed even more miserably. However, it seemed impossible to kill it. Wang Feng's current attack power was not enough to kill the celestial beast. But Wang Feng was having a good time. Do you still want to eat? No, I don't want to eat anymore. Ouch. Big brother, stop hitting me. I was wrong. Does it still smell good? It doesn't smell good anymore. Clap, clap, clap. Dong, dong, dong. About 10 seconds later, the little brat finally could not take it anymore and cried out, I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Wang Feng heaved a sigh of relief. Damn it, he finally admitted defeat. If he didn't admit defeat, I wouldn't have been able to take it anymore. However, Wang Feng felt rather fortunate. This little brat admitted defeat. He had never been beaten like this before. Not to mention being beaten, he could not even feel the pain. Wang Feng reckoned that other than himself, there was no other soul master who could cause him any harm. Furthermore, it was extremely likely that this little brat had been locked inside since he was born. In comparison, Xiao Wu was considered lucky. At this moment, BB Don and the ghost Dalu, who were watching from the high platform, were extremely silent. Did he pass? The ghost Dalu's mouth was extremely dry. This soul beast had been here for so many years. This was the last of the true soul stage's 7 tests, but such a situation had never happened before. Most of the soul masters were either eaten by him or beaten to a pulp by him, barely managing to escape with their lives. But now it was beaten up by this Pope Diff. The ghost Douluo suspected that she had seen the wrong thing. How is this possible? BB Don was the same. However, after seeing Wang Feng's aura suddenly soar, she could roughly imagine this scene. However, seeing Wang Wu defeat this Sky Luo dark feather beast with her own eyes was still a little shocking. At the same time, she was also a little happy. After all, Wang Wu had passed this test. She was even more confident in the 8th test. Actually, Wang Feng was also a little relieved. Logically speaking, if he did not have the floating flame flag, Wang Feng would not have any chance of winning. However, this also allowed Wang Feng to know the use of the floating flame flag. At the same time, if the power of the 7th blood pattern had not been fully activated in front of the Rakshasa statue, Wang Feng would have died now. This was because even if he was fully activated and could fight against this Sky Luo dark feather beast, it was obvious. After that, he would have to face Bibidon's attack. Wang Feng did not think that he could defeat BB Don. With these two things, Wang Feng barely managed to pass the divine test. This little thing is really strong. Wang Feng looked at the little kid who was squatting on the ground and holding his head. He could not help but murmur, such a powerful little thing. Should I kidnap him? It was actually quite easy for Wang Feng to kidnap this little guy. A piece of meat and a drop of blood would be easily enough for him to kidnap this little thing. However, if he was released, he would be a ticking time bomb. After thinking about it, Wang Feng felt that he should forget about it. He already had enough underlings. At this moment, as the battle ended, Wang Feng felt a heat between his eyebrows. Instantly, it turned into a warm current that flowed into his body. His soul power increased by several levels. A strange power seemed to be forming in his body. Could it be a domain? Wang Feng was surprised. A test of this level should not only reward an increase in soul power. However, this strange, evil power was instantly absorbed by the 7 blood patterns on his body. Damn. Specialized in absorbing domains? Wang Fengxin could not help but complain. It was just a domain. Wang Feng naturally did not mind having a few more. After all, he only had 1 domain now. But since it was absorbed, Wang Feng could not do anything about it. He only felt that the 7 blood patterns had become much stronger. The color gradually turned from red to black. But it's finally over. Wang Feng looked at BB Don on the high platform and said in his heart, BB Don, your godly position is gone. P.S. Begging for monthly votes, I have something to do today, but it's still 8 p.m. In a chapter. Chapter 678. After passing this test, there was no need to talk about rewards. Wang Feng didn't really care. His soul power had only increased by 2 ranks. That strange, evil energy shouldn't be a domain, but it should be some of the Rakshasa god's power, which was directly absorbed by the Dark Angel. This kind of power should be related to the affinity of the Rakshasa god's seat. But what Wang Feng cared about the most was destroying the Bibidan's seat. As long as he could solve this problem, Wang Feng felt that he should be able to rest easy in the future. He could do whatever he wanted. This battle made Wang Feng feel a little emotional. This soul beast strength had reached the level of 100,000-year soul beast. It was really troublesome. Actually, to be honest, Wang Feng really hadn't fought a 100,000-year soul beast in a serious manner. That Starlight 5-headed dragon was on the verge of death, and the headless general was also severely injured. Wang Feng relied on a sneak attack and the white cloud boundary flag to defeat it and keep it in the flag. The ice dragon whale in the extreme north wasn't even 100,000-year-old. This Skynet dark feather beast was the first time Wang Feng had fought a 100,000-year soul beast, but it was indeed very strong. Furthermore, this Skynet dark feather beast had inherited the strength of its parents. It was very strange. Not only was its body strong, but it was even stronger in its original form. It also had extreme immunity. The ghost Douluo said that only with the strength of a god could he defeat it. This wasn't a lie. This was the strongest part of the Skynet dark feather beast. As he thought, Wang Feng returned to the high platform. "Congratulations, Your Majesty Poketiff." The ghost Douluo said respectfully, "You are the most amazing soul master I've seen in so many years. You are also the only soul master who can defeat a Skynet dark feather beast." Although it was a compliment, the ghost Dalu wasn't lying. This was really the only soul master he had seen in so many years who could defeat a Skynet dark feather beast. This soul beast has only inherited the cultivation of its parents, but it is still very young, Wang Feng said calmly. It has been imprisoned here for a long time. It lacks battle experience, and its mind is pure and extreme. What a pity. Yes, this Skynet dark feather beast was very young in Wang Feng's eyes. Just like Xiao Wu. After Xiao Wu transformed into her human form, her intelligence was not high. This Skynet dark feather beast was even more special. It had an extremely powerful cultivation base, and its human body's cultivation base was also extremely high. It could transform into its original form at will. When Xiao Wu was 6 or 7 years old, she hadn't been able to transform into her human form for long. Without cultivating to a very high level, she wouldn't be able to transform back into her original form. Even if he were to revert to his original form, he would not be so powerful. A lack of combat experience was also normal. The Mara 7 trials had very high requirements for soul masters, so there were naturally very few people who could make it to the 7th trial and face the Skynet dark feather beast. In addition, he had been imprisoned here for a long time, so it was impossible for him to have much combat experience. They were basically crushed by the Sky Luo dark feather beast. What battle experience could they have? Otherwise, Wang Feng wouldn't have had much of a chance. His Holiness Poketiff is too modest. However, since you've passed the first trial, you've already received the approval of a true god, so you can help His Majesty Bibidon. Bibidon nodded slightly with a faint smile on his face. In the end, Wang Wu did not disappoint her. What is the content of His Highness the Pope's assessment? Wang Feng asked calmly. He couldn't appear to be too anxious. Haste makes waste. This was the final step, so he had to be steady. The 8th trial. Bibidon walked out of the building and stood in the corridor, looking up. Double martial souls, 9 soul rings, at least 200,000-year soul rings, and the approval of the divine weapon, Rakshasa Demon Scythe. Hearing the content of the assessment, Wang Feng was stunned. Wang Feng was slightly taken aback. She was just missing a 100,000-year soul beast soul ring. There were 2 conditions, and Bibidon had completely fulfilled one of them. She had absorbed the soul ring of the headless divine beast, so she now had 9 soul rings. The remaining condition was to obtain the divine weapon. Wang Fengxin's heart sank. 100,000-year soul beast had filled Bibidon's trust and allowed Bibidon to fulfill one of the conditions of the 8th trial. The remaining condition was to obtain the approval of the divine weapon. Absolutely, absolutely, he had to interrupt Bibidon's godhood inheritance. Wang Fengxin thought to himself. Otherwise, if Bibidon really obtained the divine weapon, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, it wouldn't be so easy to interrupt. He had to plan carefully. The Rakshasa demon scythe is the divine weapon of the Rakshasa true god. It is extremely difficult to obtain the approval of the divine weapon. Ghost Dalu looked up. First of all, the divine weapon is at the top of the temple, which is the 18th floor, also known as the Rakshas's 18th floor. Once you enter this floor, the evil in your heart will be magnified several times. If it's light, you will lose your mind, and if it's heavy, you will die directly. Secondly, according to the records, the Rakshasa demon scythe contains the power of a true god. Once you hold it, you will suffer a violent soul attack until you obtain its approval. If you let go, it means failure. The first 8 trials will be invalid, and you will be expelled from the secret realm. Bibidon nodded slightly. However, she was very confident, mainly because she was confident in herself. Since you want to obtain the approval of the divine weapon, then I shouldn't be able to help? Wang Feng asked. The divine weapon only recognized one master. She could only rely on Bibidon's own strength. How could others help? You can. Ghost Dalu said in a low voice. The 18th floor is filled with an extremely evil aura. Every moment you stay there, your mind will suffer a great impact. Under such circumstances, to accept the power of the Rakshasa demon scythe, even a rank 99 titled Dalu will suffer a great burden. The more evil a person's heart is, the more difficult it will be at this time. Because once you can't control your own evil, you will fail instantly. Lord Popetiff, you came in by absorbing Her Majesty Bibidon's evil aura. When the time comes, you can share some of the pressure for her. This is very important. Hearing this, Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. This Rakshasa god was really not easy to inherit. It required one to possess an extremely powerful evil. But the more evil a person's heart was, the harder it was to obtain the inheritance. Holding the Rakshasa demon scythe, he didn't know what kind of impact he would receive. As an elder of the Moro clan, Ghost Dalu was very clear about all the trials. Let's go see the true master of the Moro clan first. Bibidon said, this battle has exhausted your mind. Rest for a day or two, then go with me to the 8th trial. Wang Feng nodded. Afterwards, Ghost Dalu led Bibidon and Wang Feng out of the Rakshasa temple and came to the palace at the center of this small city. The true master of the Moro clan was a rank 98 titled Dalu called Netherworld. Titled Netherworld Dalu, he was slightly better looking than Ghost. Wang Feng looked like an old man in his 40s or 50s, but his actual age should be even higher. End of chapter. Chapter 679. However, the stronger one was, the harder it was for them to leave the secret realm. The more they were weakened outside, the less they would be weakened. On the contrary, the weaker ones would be weakened less. Normally, Moros wouldn't leave the secret realm. Even with Bibidon's power and status, she could only order around the Ghost Dalu, who was loyal to her. The other Moros respected Bibidon very much, but it was very difficult to get them to leave. It was too easy for them to die outside. Furthermore, the Moros' mission was to protect the Rakshasa temple and find a successor for the Rakshasa true god. Unless Bibidon became the Rakshasa true god, she wouldn't have the right to order them around. My clan is very relieved that Her Majesty Bibidon has received such help. The Netherworld Dalu was very happy after hearing about Wang Feng's situation, but also a little regretful. It's a pity. If Popetiff was Moro Chikau, he could join the Moros and inherit my position. What a pity. The Netherworld Dalu was actually over 100 years old. He was much older than Wang Feng had imagined. However, Wang Fengxin was secretly shocked to see that the Moros had such a powerful title Dalu. If Bibidon really became a god, these Moros would definitely listen to Bibidon's orders. When that happened, it would be very troublesome. After staying in the Moros for about 2 days, Wang Feng had completely recovered. The energy in this place leaned towards evil. If it were other soul masters, it would be very difficult for them to cultivate and recover. The Moros weren't restricted. Wang Feng was special, so he wasn't restricted. Therefore, he could naturally recover. Over the past few days, Wang Feng had a rough understanding of the Moros' overall strength. It had to be said that they were extraordinarily strong. There were 3 titled Douluo, besides Netherworld, Ghost, and Yi. Fortunately, there weren't any rank 99 exceptional Douluo. There were less than 1,000 people, but there were at least 200 to 300 soul masters who could truly fight. In terms of numbers, they couldn't compare to the 3 upper sects, but they weren't lacking in titled Douluo. After Wang Feng rested, the Ghost Douluo brought him and BB'd on to the 18th floor. This was the highest floor of a Rakshasa temple. It stored the divine weapon Rakshasa Demon Scythe. Before he even entered, Wang Feng could already feel an extremely powerful evil energy. The entire 18th floor was like an open-air plaza. In the center, there was a strange building. It was like layers of cake, slowly shrinking upward. This building had a total of 10 floors. On the 10th floor, an incomparably large pitch-black sickle was floating quietly on a transparent light screen. It was emitting energy fluctuations that were so condensed that they seemed to have materialized. This is the 18th floor. The Ghost Douluo's gaze was extremely grave as he pointed at the cake-like structure. That's called a Rakshasa Divine Throne. There are a total of 10 levels. Every level up, the evil aura emitted by the demon scythe will become stronger. If someone who isn't a true god enters, even a titled Dalu won't be able to survive for more than 10 seconds. It was probably because this was the first time Wang Feng had seen such a power that was so close to that of a god. Out of curiosity, he kept probing. Looking at the incomparably large, pitch-black scythe, Wang Feng could feel waves of extremely terrifying power, even from such a distance. This is a divine weapon? Wang Fengxin's heart trembled. The aura is very strong, but compared to the martial soul Pangu axe, it seems to be quite weak. As he had used the Pangu axe before, Wang Feng could feel what kind of power it contained. However, it's just a feeling. I haven't actually used it before. I wonder what kind of weapon this god uses. Wang Fengxin thought to himself. The Rakshasa Divine Throne was not tall, only less than 20 meters. If it was outside, a tidal Dalu could easily jump onto such a platform. However, in this place, just the area outside the Divine Throne already had an enormous amount of pressure. Bibidon glanced at Wang Feng as if asking him. Wang Feng nodded. The Ghost Dalu stood outside, not daring to take a step forward. Let's begin. Bibidon's eyes glowed as he stepped into the 18th floor with Wang Feng. The moment Wang Feng stepped in, he felt a wave of evil and violent energy that was difficult to absorb, as well as desires that seeped into his spirit like a sponge absorbing water. Wang Feng's spirit shook slightly, and he took a deep breath. He looked at Bibidon beside him and saw that Bibidon's aura was still relatively stable. Waves of evil aura were drawn out from her body, which was covered by the demon's scythe. However, her spirit was also very strong, and her will was very tenacious. There were no changes. Wang Feng unleashed the power of his blood patterns and directly used his original sin's domain to cover Bibidon completely. At the same time, he absorbed the evil aura from Bibidon's body. Bibidon nodded slightly. It was indeed a lot easier. She needed to conserve her spirit and strength. When she held a Rakshasa demon scythe later, she would definitely expend more energy. With Wang Wu helping her absorb part of the evil aura, it could be said that it was a great help to her. At the same time, under the original sin's domain, many of the evil and violent energies were weakened, and the impact on the two of them was also reduced. The original sin's domain was the origin domain formed by the 7 blood patterns. Once it was unleashed, it naturally had an extremely strong, moderating, and absorbing effect on all kinds of evil energy in the outside world. The two of them were less than a meter apart, and they slowly walked towards the divine throne in front of them. Everything was going very smoothly. The ghost Douluo's expression was a little more relaxed. With Pope Tif's help, it could be said that the possibility of Her Majesty Bibidon passing the test had increased by another layer. However, Wang Fengxin was silently calculating in his heart. This was clearly an excellent opportunity. Wang Feng was silent as he walked towards the divine throne with Bibidon. Not long after, they reached the divine throne's position. When they reached here, Wang Feng felt that his spirit was fluctuating a little. The closer they got to the Rakshasa demon's scythe, the stronger the impact of the evil aura became. It was like a demon that was constantly drawing out the evil in the depths of one's heart, causing it to devour one's spirit. Wang Feng glanced at Bibidon beside him again and discovered that Bibidon hadn't changed much. He couldn't help but be slightly surprised. This meant that Bibidon hadn't expended too much of her spirit. Although he had helped her, Bibidon's spiritual power was probably extremely vast. Her expression was still very calm. The two of them didn't speak as they began to ascend the Rakshasa divine throne. On the steps of this divine throne, there were all kinds of ghost servant images engraved. They were probably the same as the Rakshasa statues on the first level. They were all vassals of the Rakshasa god. When they reached the first level, Bibidon and Wang Feng were both shocked. Bibidon's expression changed slightly. Wang Feng was still alright. This divine throne emitted an extremely evil aura that could instantly stir the hearts of soul masters. Compared to the previous areas, it was several times stronger. Because Wang Feng had helped Bibidon bear a portion of it, he could feel it even more clearly. End of chapter. Chapter 680. Going up each level is a great test for a soul master's spiritual power and willpower. Wang Fengxin muttered. Immediately after, Wang Fengxin silently chanted the forward secret word, allowing the spiritual power in his sea of consciousness to flow slowly to reduce the impact on his soul. The original Sin domain was released at the same time. Wang Feng glanced at Bibidon again, only to discover that the latter's expression had changed slightly, but nothing else had changed. The evil aura on Bibidon's body was emitted more and more after ascending the steps. However, Bibidon could still control it. The two of them walked up again. The higher they went, the stronger the impact on each level. In addition to the impact on the soul, there was also an impact on the body. On the fourth level, Bibidon unleashed his first martial soul, the Death Spider Emperor. Borrowing the power of his martial soul, he resisted the spiritual impact to the greatest extent and controlled the evil aura on his body. After passing 2 more levels, Bibidon switched to his second martial soul, the soul-devouring Spider Emperor, on the 6th level. However, he didn't possess his martial soul. These 2 martial souls looked sinister and terrifying. Although they were first-class martial souls and couldn't be considered ugly, they still carried the aura of a king. However, after being possessed by a martial soul, the soul master's appearance would definitely change. Borrowing the power of his martial soul, he ascended to the 6th level of the Rakshasa divine throne. The 7th level. The impact of the evil aura on the 7th level caused Wang Feng's expression to change. Even with his spiritual power, he felt strained. The main reason was that he had used the original Sin domain and absorbed the evil aura emitted by Bibidon's body. However, this wasn't the limit. To be precise, it wasn't Bibidon's limit. It wasn't Wang Feng's limit either. This impact caused Wang Feng's soul to begin to produce evil desires. However, they soon disappeared. Looking at Bibidon, his face was slightly pale. However, he was still calm. Wang Feng was silent and stepped onto the 8th level with Bibidon. The impact on the 8th level was at least 80% higher than the 7th level. The impact of the evil and ruthless energy increased according to the level. Furthermore, it increased on the basis of the previous level. If this continued, it would reach a terrifying level on the 10th level. I don't know if I can make it to the 10th level. I'll let go now. Bibidon doesn't seem to have reached her limit yet. With my help, she should be able to hold on for now. Even without my help, it's impossible for her to fail on the 8th level. Wang Feng felt that the difficulty of the 8th test was indeed greater than Wang Feng had imagined. After all, he had not even grasped the demonic scythe. Just ascending the Rakshasa divine throne already gave him such great pressure. I wonder what kind of terrifying impact BB Dawn will have to endure after holding the magic scythe. Upon reaching the 9th level, 3 soul bones began to appear on Bibidon's body. Wang Feng didn't know what kind of soul bone this was, but one of them should belong to Xiao Wu's mother. This was because Wang Feng sensed a somewhat familiar aura. It should be the right leg bone. On the 9th floor, Wang Feng felt that many evil desires began to appear uncontrollably in the depths of his soul. Wang Feng frowned slightly. "How are you doing?" Bibidon's voice was a little low, less dignified, and more feminine. "It's all right." Wang Feng's spiritual power was circulating rapidly in his sea of consciousness, but his voice was still calm. He was no longer the Wang Feng from the Holy Soul Village. His willpower had been tempered countless times. Countless battles on the verge of life and death, as well as breakthroughs and victories, had made Wang Feng's willpower extremely strong. Furthermore, Wang Feng's soul had been tempered and was extremely pure. Wang Feng extinguished these evil desires the moment they were born. "Your spiritual power seems to be stronger than I thought." Bibidon's slightly pale face revealed a smile. Wang Feng nodded. His spiritual power was no longer the small trickle from before. In this place, Wang Feng realized that his spiritual power was increasing rapidly when he circulated the secret art of forwarding. It was almost like a water pillar now. His star-like spiritual power flowed in Wang Feng's sea of consciousness and purified those evil desires. "Your aura is still so pure. You shouldn't be able to absorb the evil energy here, right?" On the 9th level, BB Dawn didn't seem to want to go straight to the last level. Instead, she asked softly, "I can only eliminate it, but not absorb it." Wang Feng was silent for a moment before replying. To be precise, he could absorb it. He could absorb it with the 7 blood patterns, but after absorbing it, his soul would suffer a stronger impact. And the conversion was very slow, very slow. This was different from the evil energy from the Rakshasa god statue. That was the evil energy from the Rakshasa god's recognition of him. It was used for him to pass the true god 9th test. It was pure and pure. Evil was just an attribute. Therefore, the absorption of the 7th blood pattern was extremely smooth. But the evil energy here was extremely violent. He didn't get the recognition of the demon, scythe, divine artifact. These energies were very repulsive and naturally couldn't be absorbed smoothly. In addition, it was Bibidon's test. The absorption of these violent, evil energies was very slow. Wang Feng didn't waste his energy to absorb them. It's almost the 10th level. Bibidon's face was pale, but her eyes were still very clear. They were as dark as the night sky. "Are you ready?" Wang Feng nodded slightly. The two of them jumped and reached the 10th level. At the same time, all 6 soul bones on Bibidon's body appeared. At the same time, 6 soul bones as thin as cicada's wings appeared on his back. Seeing this, Wang Feng's pupils shrank. External soul bone. 6 soul bones, plus the external soul bone. BB Dawn already had a set of soul bones. Although it wasn't a real soul bone set, all the soul bones were gathered. Moreover, one of the right arm bones belonged to the headless general divine beast. Wang Feng could sense it very clearly. Every one of them was emitting a scorching light. With a complete soul bone, BB Dawn definitely had a soul bone fusion skill. However, similar to Tang San, it didn't reach a very high compatibility. After all, these soul bones came from different soul beasts. But as long as he inherited the deity position, Wang Feng felt that these soul bones should really fuse into one and form a real soul bone divine armor. But now it seemed that these soul bones on Bibidon's body were wrapped around her body and formed a mysterious aura with the external soul bone on her back. It was quite beautiful. Because each soul bone had been extended and fused together, it naturally looked similar to a real armor. The entire set of soul bones leaned towards dark purple with a hint of cold elegance. Really strong. Wang Fengxin sighed. After a set of soul bones appeared, they stepped onto the 10th level. Under the impact of such a huge amount of evil energy, BB Dawn was still in high spirits. As soon as the soul bones appeared, BB Dawn was naturally strengthened greatly. End of this chapter. Chapter 681. Seeing this, Wang Feng knew that BB Dawn had a high chance of obtaining the demonic scythe and gaining the recognition of the divine weapon. With his help, BB Dawn was able to preserve a lot of her strength and spiritual power on the 10th level. Even so, BB Dawn was still enduring a huge impact. The reason why she was so energetic was because her willpower was too strong. Furthermore, she was only one step away from the demonic scythe. To Wang Feng, the impact on the 10th level was even more terrifying. Wang Feng did not have that set of soul bones. Furthermore, other than bearing the impact himself, he had also absorbed the evil aura on BB Dawn. The pressure was even greater. If not for his increased spiritual power, he would not have been able to withstand it. On the 10th level, Wang Feng had no choice but to use the green lotus flag. This flag had the effect of dispelling the opponent's domain, but more importantly, it was able to calm the opponent's heart. In this place, it was extremely helpful, especially against such an evil and violent energy. The green lotus flag's effect was even greater than the original sin's domain. Green light enveloped BB Dawn and Wang Feng. In the next moment, Bibidin's eyes lit up. She looked at Wang Feng, and her voice turned from hoarse to clear and majestic. There's still one last step. There was no hesitation in her voice. She was confident and certain. This green light relieved Bibidin's mental pressure. It could be seen from her voice and expression. BB Dawn knew that this green flag was another ability of Wang Wu's flag martial soul, which could calm one's heart and qi. In front, there was a platform. The platform was pitch black and covered with all kinds of sharp spikes. It exuded an extremely evil aura. There was a huge demonic scythe that was about 2 people tall floating on top of it. There were complicated patterns engraved on the demonic scythe. It gave off a glow like a black gemstone. Wang Feng was also able to see the divine artifact at such a close distance. He could easily sense the terrifying power contained within the divine artifact. It seems to be hiding a different kind of power, but it's definitely weaker than the Pango axe. Wang Feng shook his head. Then, Wang Feng looked at BB Dawn. BB Dawn was also looking at Wang Feng. Their gazes intertwined in the air. Wang Feng saw the look in Bibidin's eyes. It was full of appreciation, gratitude, and trust. Suddenly, Wang Feng felt a little dazed. This spy should be the most trusted person in Bibidin's heart. From the perspective of a spy, Wang Feng felt that he was successful, very successful. After all, he was the most trusted person in the heart of the first villain in the original work. It could be said that he understood everything about BB Dawn and participated in the 9 true God examinations with her. However, as a prophet, Wang Feng felt extremely conflicted. He had already thought of a plan. It was very simple. In a while, when BB Dawn grasped the Devil's Scythe, she would have to wait for the most crucial moment of the Devil's Scythe's test. He immediately removed the original sin's domain and the green lotus flag. At that time, the impact on BB Dawn would be greatly increased. At that critical moment, a single strand of straw could determine whether BB Dawn could completely withstand the power of the magic scythe, not to mention the sudden and massive impact after the removal of the original sin's domain and the green lotus flag. BB Dawn would definitely fail. Once she failed, Bibidin's fighting strength and spiritual power would be greatly reduced. She wouldn't be a threat to him at all. Wang Feng didn't even need to make a move. He could easily destroy everything. It was a perfect plan. It was so perfect that Wang Feng couldn't find any loopholes. Because at this moment, most of Bibidin's abilities had already appeared in front of him. Of course, Wang Feng wasn't clear about Bibidin's soul skills. But no matter how powerful the soul skills were, they couldn't save her. I'm starting. Bibidin's soul bones flickered as she calmly walked to the front of the platform. In the next moment, BB Dawn suddenly grabbed the Devil's Scythe. Endless light suddenly blossomed from the Devil's Scythe and filled the entire platform. From the ghost Daluo's position, It was as if a shining black sun was rising. From where Wang Feng was standing, he could clearly see that the Devil Scythe was releasing a pitch-black light barrier that enveloped Bibidon. Streaks of light rose from Bibidon's body continuously. Evil black gas that seemed to have materialized surrounded Bibidon's body. Wang Feng could clearly feel that Bibidon's body and mind were experiencing a huge impact. If one were to compare, it would be the same as when Wang Feng first picked up the Pangu axe and had to withstand a terrifying force. At the same time, because this was an extremely evil divine weapon, Bibidon's spirit still had to withstand the impact. Very soon, Wang Feng could feel that Bibidon's aura was becoming more and more hurried. Dense gaps of light started to appear on his skin. Bibidon's body was still very strong. With 6 soul bones, 2 martial souls, and 18 soul rings, the strength of Bibidon's body had reached an unimaginable level. However, Bibidon's spiritual power was rapidly being depleted. Wang Feng was standing opposite Bibidon. He could see that Bibidon's eyes were gradually turning black. The evil aura in Bibidon's heart was already extremely strong. When they entered the secret realm, Wang Feng could clearly feel it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been chosen by the Rakshasa god. At this moment, the evil in his heart had completely erupted, causing Bibidon's aura to gradually rise. At the same time, Wang Feng also saw that the Devil Scythe was also trembling slightly. It let out a trembling sound, causing the entire divine throne and even the divine temple to tremble. Wang Feng couldn't attack at this moment. The black light barrier emitted by the Devil Scythe was specially made to prevent people from destroying the test. However, the domain and the light from the green lotus flag still covered Bibidon's body. Through the original Sin domain, Wang Feng could feel how enormous Bibidon's evil aura had become at this moment. Wang Feng waited quietly. At this moment, he was helping Bibidon absorb Bibidon's increasingly enormous and uncontrollable evil aura. He could roughly sense which stage Bibidon had reached. Bibidon suddenly let out a fierce cry. His eyes were slightly bloodshot. Wang Fengxian was slightly startled. Bibidon's willpower was somewhat disintegrating. This Rakshasa Devil Scythe was too powerful. It wasn't that easy to control the evil in his heart that had increased by several times or even dozens of times. However, he hadn't reached his limit yet. Bibidon's face gradually became malevolent. Clearly, he was gradually being affected by the evil emotions that were gradually becoming uncontrollable. However, the light from the Devil Scythe was becoming more and more compatible with Bibidon. Wang Feng didn't know what kind of torment Bibidon's mind was going through at this moment. At this moment, as the evil was slowly corroding Bibidon's heart, there were a few figures that Bibidon didn't want to face the most. They were also the source of the evil emotions that Bibidon couldn't control the most. In a chapter. Chapter 682. The evil aura formed the first figure in Bibidon's mind. It was the previous pope, Qian Xuanji, a man who brought her endless pain. Every time the aura formed the figure of the other party, Bibidon would instantly kill him in her mind. However, every time she killed him, she would be affected by the evil emotions. The more she killed, the deeper the influence. It was different from the impact of the 10th layer of the divine throne realm. Those impacts only triggered the evil aura in Bibidon's heart, causing Bibidon to recall those scenes and various evil desires. With Bibidon's willpower, she could completely endure it. But now that figure had truly appeared in his mind, taking shape in his mind. It was incomparably clear. The second figure formed by the evil aura was Grandmaster. However, it was very faint. This also meant that Bibidon had gradually forgotten about it over the years. However, Bibidon did not kill him in her mind. No matter how much she forgot about it, she could not let it go. Therefore, she was unwilling to do so. However, this was different from Qian Xuanji. The more she did not kill him, the deeper the influence on Bibidon's mind. Gradually, Bibidon's mind was affected more and more by the terrifying impact of the Devil Scythe as it repeated itself over and over again. Bibidon felt that she could not hold on any longer. She could not care about the past at all. She could even let it go completely. However, when Qian Xuanji appeared in her mind, she could not help but kill him. The more she killed, the deeper the influence on her mind. As for Grandmaster's figure, he did not move at all. However, the influence he brought was even deeper. If Wang Feng knew the situation in Bibidan's mind, he would know that she had not let it go. It was similar to an inner demon. Gods couldn't have inner demons. Even if they had inner demons, they could not become gods. Bibidan was somewhat confused. In the depths of her mind, she did not know how long she could hold on. She might collapse in the next second. Bibidan felt that she was gradually losing herself. At this moment, Wang Feng did not know the situation in Bibidan's mind. He only felt that the evil aura on Bibidan's body was getting denser and denser. The aura she exhaled was gradually becoming chaotic. Dense beads of sweat appeared on her face. Strands of bloody light appeared from all over her body. I think I'm reaching my limit. Wang Feng looked at Bibidan, and his heart froze. Moreover, the aura of the devil sickle is becoming more and more compatible with her. Could it be that she is about to pass? As expected of the Bibidan, the headless general that he brought back must have allowed her to participate in the 8th trial in advance. But she was still able to pass. It's time. Wang Feng took a deep breath and muttered in his heart, Bibidan, your godly position inheritance ends here. The next moment, Wang Feng calmly withdrew his original Sin domain and stopped absorbing Bibidan's evil aura. At the same time, he shrank the radius of his green lotus artifact. He covered his body with the green light. The 2 types of resistance disappeared. Almost instantly, Bibidan's body trembled violently. The evil aura on his body burst out at a speed several times faster than before. Under this terrifying impact, Bibidan, who was gradually losing himself, was suddenly awakened. The demonic side's radiance grew even brighter. She felt as if her soul was suffering from a terrifying impact. It was extremely painful. However, because of this pain, the dazed Bibidan rejoiced. In her mind, a 3rd figure suddenly appeared. Wang Wu? He canceled the original Sin domain and the radiance of the flag? Why did he do that? The demonic side's explosive spiritual impact made Bibidan feel that her soul was trembling and in pain. However, it also made Bibidan's mind clearer. Suddenly, Bibidan looked at the 3rd figure and seemed to have understood something. Is he using this method to increase my pressure? To wake me up? Also, if I want to obtain the demonic side's approval, I can't rely on external forces. He helped me reach the 10th floor and retained most of his strength. However, he can't help me pass this final stage. The more she thought, the more excited Bibidan became. Her soul seemed to be destroyed by this impact at any time. However, Bibidan's heart was incomparably calm. In her mind, she looked at the 2 figures and suddenly smiled indifferently. Everything seemed to be in between a smile. It was as if the wind and clouds were light. In the next moment, Qian Xuanji's figure turned into endless powder. The figures of the masters also shattered. Thank you. Bibidan looked at the 3rd figure that suddenly appeared in her mind and smiled. Then, this figure also turned into powder and disappeared. At the same time, Wang Feng looked at Bibidan, whose aura was gradually weakening, and knew that she had failed. Wang Feng's expression was calm. He didn't feel anything. The black light shield emitted by the demonic scythe also disappeared and left Bibidan's hand. He looked at Bibidan quietly. There was no doubt that Bibidan would definitely discover his identity when she woke up. At such a critical moment, he gave her the heaviest blow and made her lose the god position inheritance. Bibidan would also guess his identity. However, Wang Feng didn't care because Bibidan's aura was very weak now. She didn't dare to attack him and didn't have the chance to kill him. Although Wang Feng's strength had decreased greatly because of the impact of the evil aura. As the winner, Wang Feng naturally didn't want to escape like this. He had been hiding as a spy for so long. This was the last competition. He was waiting to see Bibidan's expression. He wanted to see how she wanted to kill him, but couldn't. However, thinking back to the things that had happened along the way as a spy, Wang Feng felt a little emotional. There were some mysteries, some dangers, and many coincidences. Thinking about it, Wang Feng felt that it was quite exciting. At this moment, the black light in Bibidin's eyes slowly receded and her pupils constricted again. Wang Feng thought for a moment and decided to speak first. He wanted to say, are you very angry? Are you very upset? You didn't expect it, right? I'm Wang Feng. However, Wang Feng had just said a few words. Suddenly, Bibidon smiled sweetly. This smile made Wang Feng somewhat baffled. He had never seen Bibidong reveal such a smile before, because there was a hint of gratitude in her smile, which made Wang Feng feel strange. It also made Wang Feng unable to say what he wanted to say next. Then, Bibidon reached out her hand and grabbed the demon's scythe again. In an instant, a huge aura rose from Bibidon's body, but this time, Bibidong didn't change at all. The devil's scythe seemed to have fused with her, transforming into a corporeal black aura that swirled around Bibidong, causing her to radiate light, as if she was a god of the night. Bibidong held the Rakshasa demon's scythe, looked at Wang Feng, and chuckled. Wang Wu, thank you. If it wasn't for your help just now, I would have gone crazy. I would have failed the assessment. Now, I have completely passed the 8th assessment and obtained the approval of the Rakshasa demon scythe. In an instant, hearing this, Wang Feng was dumbfounded on spot. Wang Feng swallowed a mouthful of water and looked at Bibidon at this time. I'm F** King cracked. P.S. There are a few more. This chapter ends. Chapter 683. Wang Feng's current mood was probably equivalent to holding a single card in his hand, but he was instantly defeated by the opponent's 17 cards. Instant kill. It was so fast that Wang Feng was baffled. Why? It's impossible. At that time, Bibidon was obviously on the edge of her limit. When he withdrew the original Sin domain and the light of the green lotus flag, Bibidon would definitely have suffered greater pressure and instantly collapsed and failed. How could she have succeeded? Wang Feng couldn't imagine how Bibidon did it. Could it be that she was still hiding her strength? Impossible. Wang Feng was still relatively clear about the situation just now. Bibidon was already at her limit. She should have succeeded after holding on for a while. Bibidon couldn't possibly only fail if the straw fell gently on him. Wang Feng stared at Bibidon in a daze, looking at the smile on her face. This smile was already proof that Bibidon must have obtained the approval of the demon sickle. She passed the 8th test. For a moment, Wang Feng couldn't help but think. Could it be that Bibidon is also the soul world child of destiny? She didn't even fail? Several rays of light slowly lit up from Bibidon's body. The soul rings on her body became more solid, and her aura changed greatly. The 2-man-tall demon sickle in Bibidon's hand gradually became as tall as a person, and could be held by Bibidon with one hand. The aura on the demon's sickle was restrained, as if it had become one with Bibidon. A suffocating aura slowly shook out from Bibidon's body. Ew. For a moment, Wang Feng was completely speechless. Also, Bibidon thanked me? Could it be that she found out my identity and was being sarcastic? But obviously not. If that was the case, the smile on Bibidon's face should be ridiculing and complacent. But now, Wang Feng only felt that the smile was sincere and grateful. What the hell is going on? Wang Fengxin muttered. After spending so much time and such a perfect opportunity, he could have cut off Bibidon's divine position inheritance. But now she passed the 8th test. She became stronger. How can you play this? Wang Fengxin felt a chill run down his spine. Are you going to ask me what happened? Bibidon smiled faintly, but it gave Wang Feng a different feeling. Wang Feng. Bibidon gently swung the demonic scythe and sensed the power within it. He closed his eyes and sensed how powerful he had become. Completing the 8th trial and obtaining the Rakshasa demon scythe meant that she had stepped into a whole new realm. Wang Feng could tell this from the fact that she no longer had a 100-year soul ring. Even their first martial soul, the Death Spider Emperor, was at least 1,000 years old. Furthermore, it was a 1,000-year soul ring that was extremely close to a 10,000-year soul ring. Wang Wu, you suddenly retracted your domain just now, and the light from your flag is very important. BB Don heaved a long sigh. It was exactly because you suddenly took it back that the pressure on me multiplied, which awakened my confused mind and soul that had been corrupted by evil. At the same time, I also realized that the reason you did that was to wake me up. I also realized that if I wanted to obtain the Devil Sickle's acknowledgement, I would have to rely on my own strength. It's impossible to rely on external forces, and it's impossible. BB Don spoke the truth, but there was one thing that he didn't say. It was the figure that appeared in her mind that woke her up. Wang Feng, you have been observing me from the outside, so you must have noticed this problem. BB Don looked at Wang Feng with incomparable admiration. That's why you did that, right? Really, it's very important. If you didn't take it back in time, I would have failed and my strength would have decreased greatly. Wang Feng felt that he was cracking again. He never thought that he would actually help BB Don. How is this possible? An incomparably complicated feeling lingered in Wang Feng's heart. What should I do? What should I do now? Having obtained the acknowledgement of the divine artifact, Wang Feng knew that this meant that BB Don was already half a step into the divine realm. Why? I successfully passed the 8th trial. Aren't you happy? BB Don looked at the silent Wang Feng and couldn't help but ask. After saying that, BB Don thought of something again and said with a trace of regret, I forgot that you don't have any emotions. But I know that you must be happy. Even if you don't show it, I know. Wang Feng, you know that you're a banana peel. Congratulations. After holding in for a long time, Wang Feng calmly spat out 3 words. Since the situation has changed, if Wang Feng still exposed his identity, it would be like jumping on a grave mound and courting death. The content of the 9th trial is more complicated and will take a long time. Let's talk about it later. BB Don was in an extremely good mood. Not only did she pass the 8th trial, but more importantly, she really defeated her heart demon and let go of everything. That feeling made her feel relaxed. Wang Feng also felt that BB Don seemed to be a little different now. BB Don previously gave him a feeling of ruthlessness, coldness, oppression, and a lot of pain. But now there were some changes, probably like the clouds turning from overcast to cloudy. But because she was stronger, her aura was stronger and more majestic. Wang Feng didn't really feel it. Then let's go back first. Wang Feng was silent for a moment and said he needed to think about his future plans and plans. It seemed like the direction was out of his control. After saying that, Wang Feng turned around and walked down from the divine throne. Okay. BB Don looked at Wang Feng's back, and a strange expression flashed across her eyes. Then, she calmed down and walked down from the divine throne. The two of them returned to the outside of the 18th floor. Congratulations, Your Majesty BB Don. You passed the 8th trial and received the Rakshasa Demon Scythe. From now on, you are the Rakshasa god of the Moro clan. A divine artifact was a symbol. In fact, after passing the 8th trial, the 9th trial was equivalent to receiving the complete Rakshasa inheritance. It was definitely much easier than the 8th trial, but it was still difficult. But for BB Don now, it didn't seem that difficult. BB Don was even 100% confident that she could pass the 9th trial. By the way, Your Majesty Popetiff, you will also receive a reward after His Majesty passes the trial. At this moment, Gosala looked at Wang Feng. The most common reward is an increase in the age of your soul rings. After hearing that, BB Don smiled and looked at Wang Feng. Wang Wu, you must have received a good reward too, right? As an assistant, there would naturally be a reward. Needless to say, at this moment, the two of them looked at Wang Feng. Wang Feng nodded calmly and said, Yes, I have received a reward. The reward is an increase in the age of 3 soul rings to 20,000 years. At the same time, it will give me the additional ability of my Khanate flag. After speaking, 3 black soul rings rose from Wang Feng's body. End of chapter. Chapter 684. His first soul ring was the golden lightning leopard. His second soul ring was the icy emperor lizard. And his third soul ring was the 30,000-year soul ring of the mysterious underworld bramble ghost, which had been upgraded to 20,000 years. When Wang Feng used the cauldron of heaven and earth, his soul rings had lit up so they naturally knew. BB Dong had known about it for a long time. Seeing this, BB Dong and Spectral Dalu nodded slightly. Immediately after, the innate five-element flags appeared in Wang Feng's hand, but this time, it was the Jinwu Condor flag. It was light blue and had strange patterns engraved on it, like clouds. When Wang Feng's soul power reached rank 67, the Jinwu Condor flag had appeared, and the 20,000-year increase in the age of each soul ring was naturally not a reward for accompanying him. It was a reward from a system. That's right. After successfully passing the BB Dawn, the system's reward sounded in Wang Feng's mind. Congratulations on successfully punching in the hidden location. You have received an additional reward, 20,000-year increase in the age of 3 soul rings. You have the option to choose your reward once. You can choose the following options. 1. You can gain an additional chance to comprehend your own soul skill. 2. Comprehend the secret of dual martial souls. 3. Increase your spiritual power cultivation. The next punching location is Sea God's Island. Obviously, because it was a hidden location, so the reward was not bad. Just the 20,000-year increase in the age of 3 soul rings was already very exaggerated. As for the choice, Wang Feng chose the second option. It was very simple. He already had enough soul skills, and his spiritual power had increased very quickly. He had already passed the Rakshasa secret realm stage, so he didn't lack anything. And the secret of dual martial souls was what Wang Feng lacked now. But after choosing, there were only 2 words in Wang Feng's mind: dual gods. The system didn't directly give him the method, as if it meant that he had to comprehend it himself. Logically speaking, it was a bit of a trap. Wang Feng guessed that the secret of dual martial souls should be that he could barely use 2 different forms of the green lotus at the same time. This was what Wang Feng had always wanted. Because of the rules of the Douluo world, martial souls couldn't use soul skills at the same time. If they could, Wang Feng's fighting strength would increase by a lot. However, these 2 words were too simple, and Wang Feng didn't know how to understand them. Gods should only be spiritual power. Dual, could it be that he had to split his spiritual power into 2? However, Wang Feng had tried it a long time ago, and it didn't seem to work. It was actually very easy to split one's mental strength into 2. It was just like doing 2 things at once. Wang Feng had already practiced this method during the competition. Therefore, it was too easy for Wang Feng to split his mental power into 2. It was impossible to control 2 martial spirits at the same time with 2 different types of mental energy. However, Wang Feng was not in the mood to comprehend it. Wang Feng didn't get any rewards for the second test because of his nonsense. At this moment, he could only use the system's reward as an additional reward for the 8th test. Otherwise, it would arouse suspicion. After all, it was only natural that he would be rewarded as a guest. If he didn't receive anything at all, there would be a problem. BB Don and the Phantom Dalu naturally didn't have any doubts after seeing Wang Feng's current state. Only a true God's test would have such a huge increase in soul rings. However, BB Don felt that this was a little too exaggerated. 3 soul rings, each upgraded by 20,000 years, would be 60,000 years. However, when he thought of Wang Wu's contributions and help, BB Don felt that it was very normal. The content of the 9th test is to inherit and comprehend the Rakshasa inheritance. After obtaining 200,000-year soul rings, you will come to the temple and become the true Rakshasa god. The time limit is 5 years, BB Don continued. This condition is not difficult for me. However, during the period of time when I am comprehending the Rakshasa inheritance, I can't make any moves as my strength will be suppressed, and the inheritance is in the demon's scythe. No matter how suppressed it was, Bibidon's current strength was not something that Wang Feng could compare to. These 2 conditions were not difficult. Then I'll have to trouble you, Pope Tiff, the Phantom Dalu said with a smile. Wang Feng was silent. Pope Tiff and I will leave the secret realm first. BB Don pondered. Some time should have passed outside. It's time to go back. Wang Feng had only stayed in this secret realm for less than a week. The flow of time was definitely the same. This secret realm was also in the Douluo world, but its location was more unique. It was like the Massacre City. The Massacre City's location was also very unique. It didn't seem like a normal geographical location. The way to leave was the same as the way to enter. After releasing the evil in one's heart, one could leave. In fact, this was also a kind of test to leave. Most of the people who entered were forced to enter a state of evil and blackened. They couldn't control this state. When they could control their own evil, it meant that they could enter the temple and obtain the qualifications to take the test. They could also leave. Otherwise, they might die here for the rest of their lives. This time, Wang Feng also absorbed Bibidon's evil aura to leave. But this time, after Wang Feng absorbed the evil aura in Bibidon's heart, he realized that he couldn't see the evil memories that Bibidon was most unwilling to face in the depths of his heart. Or rather, there was none. On the contrary, this evil aura was very pure and carried a trace of divinity. From this point, Wang Feng could feel the change in Bibidon even more clearly. He returned to the wooden house. All of a sudden, Bibidon waved his hand. In an instant, this originally intact wooden house was instantly smashed into pieces. Wang Feng was stunned. This wooden house, no, it was a secret room. Wang Feng had an impression of it. He saw it in Bibidon's memory. It was the place where she was done that. This place, I have been keeping it. Bibidon seemed to have noticed Wang Feng's stunned look. He couldn't help but say indifferently, because every time I come to this place, it can stimulate the evil in the depths of my heart and those things that I don't want to face. In the beginning, I especially hated this place and feared it. In order to overcome this shortcoming, I came here often. After coming here often, I slowly stopped caring about those things and memories. They don't make me feel anything. Wang Feng, what a ruthless person. Later, I could enter the secret realm in this way. So I kept it. Bibidon looked at the wooden house that had turned into ruins. But now that I have passed the 8th test, I can enter the secret realm at will. These things don't need to exist anymore. Wang Feng suddenly understood. No wonder Bibidon brought him to this place to enter the Luosha secret realm. Wang Wu, you know all my secrets. Bibidon suddenly looked at Wang Feng. In this world, there is no second person who knows me better than you. End of this chapter, that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.